Chapter 393. Ning Fan was not in a deep sleep. In other words, it was impossible for him to have a deep sleep in such a dangerous place. In his dream, he faintly felt a pair of cold, soft lips on his, and he unconsciously responded. He thought that it was just a wet dream, but he did not expect that after their lips parted, his body actually began to heat up. The bloody battle had cost him a lot of essence blood. Although he had the Black Star art to heal him, he still had to consume a lot of essence blood to recover. However, Ning Fan suddenly realized that a drop of scalding golden blood came out of nowhere and entered his throat. It flowed into his dantian and turned into a rolling hot current. The missing essence blood had already been replenished at an unbelievable speed. At the same time, the demon crests on Yang Kai's back emitted blazing heat as they absorbed the power of this drop of golden blood. The drop of golden blood contained an enormous amount of magic power. If he were to refine it, he would be able to increase his magic power by at least 10,000 units. Unfortunately, Ning Fan was currently in a deep slumber. He could not control and refine the golden blood at will. All he could do was watch the devil marks devour the golden blood. Then, promotion. This devil pattern was originally a soldier rank devil pattern, an extremely ordinary stone soldier devil pattern. As soon as he stepped into the general realm, his devil marks evolved into the profound earth devil marks. Moreover, he cultivated it all the way to the peak of the 3rd level of the Jade Life realm. He was just a step away from breaking through to the 4th level, and he had been lacking in opportunity. And this drop of golden blood was that opportunity. Ning Fan could feel that the devil marks on his back were boiling and burning. Above the demon mountain that was surrounded by clouds and mist, a vertical demonic eye slowly appeared. That demonic eye was still closed and hadn't opened. Even so, as soon as his devil eyes appeared, Ning Fan's body refinement realm seemed to have reached a certain point and he broke through to the 4th level of Jade Life body refinement realm. Coupled with the limits of the corpse devil body, the strength of his physical body was slightly stronger than an ordinary peak Jade Life realm cultivator, even though it was inferior to a golden body realm cultivator. Perhaps even venerated giant who had the strongest physical body among the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea was slightly weaker than Ning Fan. Ning Fan was rather speechless. He actually broke through to the body refinement realm in his sleep, but he had no idea where that drop of golden blood came from. What caught his attention the most was the image of the devil eye on the devil mountain on his back. That vertical eye of the devil pupil gave Ning Fan an extremely evil feeling. Ning Fan knew that his cultivation base on the devil Dao was already quite profound. However, he still found it hard to calm his mind in front of that devil eye. The devil chi in that devil eye was too strong and evil. Moreover, Ning Fan had an intuition. If he breaks through to the peak Jade Life realm and attains the golden body refining realm, his devil eyes would certainly open. At that time, his devil marks would advance to the martial rank and allow his devil marks to undergo another qualitative change. Ning Fan wasn't sure if the qualitative change was good or bad. However, he had a vague feeling that if he didn't pay attention to the advancement of the devil marks, he would most likely be devoured by the monstrous devil chi in the devil marks, losing his mind and completely sinking into the abyss of the devil Dao. If that's the case, I must go to the giant devil clan. What exactly does the name Devil Luo mean? I should go there and find out. Ning Fan made up his mind. After the golden blood dissolved, his essence blood recovered and his injuries healed even faster. Another day passed by. When the swelling in his immortal veins disappeared, Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes and woke up. The first thing he did after waking up was to consume a divine injury pill and carefully refine it to erase all of his internal injuries. The cave dwelling was slightly dark. Only a few moonlight stones inlaid on the stone walls emitted a gentle light. While Ning Fan was refining the medicinal power, he glanced around and saw Yu Chong, hugging her knees and curling up in front of him. She looked a little cold and her face was slightly pale. It seemed like her bloodline was damaged. After thinking about it carefully, Ning Fan's face lit up. That mysterious drop of golden blood was most likely given to him by Yu Chong. Looking at Yu Chong, her slightly swollen lips, Ning Fan could imagine how this little girl absorbed the golden blood. Touching his lips, Ning Fan's eyes revealed a strange expression. It seemed like he was forcefully kissed by this little girl when he was sleeping. "You Chong, Ning Fan muttered to himself. He rose to his feet and waved his sleeves, sprinkling rays of black starlight onto Yu Chong, to help her heal her injuries. Then he patted his storage pouch and took out a set of white robes to change his blood-stained clothes. After that, he took out a fox fur coat made from the skin of a divine transformation realm demon and draped it over Yu Chong's body. After that, he stopped talking and continued to consume the divine injury pill and spirit restoration pill. Then he adjusted his condition and gradually recovered to his peak state. After an unknown period of time, Yu Chong moaned and woke up. Her body swayed slightly and the fox fur coat slipped off her body. Immediately, her cheeks turned red. "This fox fur coat is definitely not hers, thank you." Yu Chong was not a fool. She naturally knew that it was Ning Fan's concern. Thus, she thanked him uneasily. Only verbal thanks. Ning Fan's lips curled into an inexplicable smile. This little girl owed Ning Fan more than just a word of thanks. "Why? What else do you want? You just covered me with a fox fur coat. Do you still expect me to repay you with my body?" Yu Chong's eyes were a little evasive. "No. I saved your life. Aren't you going to repay me?" Ning Fan deliberately said. "Zhou Ming. Who would ask for a reward after saving someone's life? You have no manners at all." Yu Chong rolled her eyes at Ning Fan. "Manners? I saved you and you repay me. It's a matter of course. What does it have to do with manners? Or are you saying that Miss Yu Chong doesn't know how to repay my kindness and you think that it's a matter of course for me to save you?" "I don't think so. I have already repaid you." Yu Chong paused halfway through her words. Her face turned red and she could not continue her sentence. The way she repaid Ning Fan was a little embarrassing. It was fine for her to give him the blood of the insect sovereign, but she just had to kiss him forcefully. How could she say it out loud? "You have already repaid me. Why don't I know how you repaid me?" "I haven't repaid you yet. Stop asking." Yu Chong was secretly upset. That drop of golden blood had probably been given to Ning Fan for nothing. Nothing good would come out of it. Forget it. Ning Fan saved her life and also saved her mother's life at the same time. It could be said that he had saved her twice. Even if she had to repay him twice, it was only right. As long as she did not repay him with her body, there was no harm in repaying him once more. "How do you want me to repay you?" "I also have a few types of high-grade 5th Revolution pills with me. Even if you want the cultivation methods of my Yu clan, I can also secretly give them to you. I don't lack high-grade 5th Revolution pills. As for the cultivation methods of your Yu clan, do you think I will be interested in them?" Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. His eyes fell upon Yu Chong's exquisite and delicate body. Then he raised his finger and pointed at her breasts. "I want this." "Zhou Ming, don't go too far. You rascal. You're shameless." Yu Chong covered her breasts with her hands and felt a chill run down her spine. If Ning Fan wants her body, she would never give it to him even if she dies. Ning Fan's smile became even wider. Without saying anything else, he approached Yu Chong step by step and forced her to the corner of the wall. Yu Chong's expression became flustered. What are you trying to do?" "I'm here to get my reward for saving you." As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's fingertip moved towards Yu Chong's neck. Yu Chong was so frightened that she closed her eyes. However, she knew that she could not resist Ning Fan at all. She only felt the button on her robe being undone and her cloak slid down. Then she realized that Ning Fan was actually taking off her clothes. In her embarrassment and anger, she really wished that she could cut Ning Fan with her sword. However, she also knew that she was no match for him no matter what. In her panic, there was also a hint of anticipation. It seemed like there were some thoughts that even she could not understand. However, she did not expect that after Ning Fan took off her cloak, he actually did not do anything else. He just looked at her with interest as if he was looking at a frightened deer. "What are you afraid of?" Ning Fan intentionally asked. "Of course, I'm afraid that you'll do something to me." Seeing that Ning Fan did not do anything else, Yu Chong mustered her courage and opened her eyes. What she saw was that after Ning Fan took off her cloak and spiritual equipment, he actually took a few steps back. It seemed like he did not have the intention to violate her further. "Why did you take off my cloak?" She had some guesses, but she asked with uncertainty. "I've already told you. This cloak is my reward." Profound divinity spiritual equipment? Huh? That's something that only void fragmentation realm old monsters are qualified to use. Did your master give it to you? What? The reward you mentioned is this cloak and not me? Yu Chong heaved a sigh of relief. However, her pretty face immediately turned awkward. Compared to losing his innocence, losing a cloak was naturally a small matter. However, no matter what, this cloak was still a profound divinity spiritual equipment. It was given to her by her 4 void fragmentation realm masters. She would not dare to simply give it to someone else. If her master asked, she wouldn't be able to answer. Divine Transformation Realm cultivators mostly use the Earth Profound Realm, Void Refinement Realm cultivators used the Heaven Profound Realm, and Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators used the Divine Profound Realm. This cloak was quite valuable. You don't want to give it to me? Or do you think that your life is less valuable than a cloak? Ning Fan tried to provoke him. Of course my life is more valuable than the heaven-deceiving cloak. I'll give it to you. But in this case, we don't owe each other anything. All right. Ning Fan agreed without hesitation. He liked this cloak very much. The effect of this heaven-deceiving cloak was to conceal one's body. If one were to refine this spiritual equipment, even the spirit sense of a void fragmentation old monster would not be able to detect him. With Yu Chong-er's cultivation base, she was unable to refine this spiritual equipment. Just wearing it on her body was enough for her to flee for a few days in the 2nd floor. It was enough to show how powerful this spiritual equipment was. Even though he had lost a spiritual puppet and several of them were severely injured, he had obtained quite a lot of dragon blood in exchange for a drop of golden blood and a profound divinity spiritual equipment. Ning Fan certainly did not suffer a loss. However, when he agreed to Yu Chong-er's request without hesitation, he did not notice a hint of disappointment flashing across her eyes. We don't owe each other anything. He's actually willing to be even with me. The thoughts of young girls were always very complicated. Yu Chong-er shook her head and cleared her mind. Then she asked hesitantly, "Are we going back to the 1st floor?" She was a little scared. After all, in order to steal the blood dragon moss, she had angered the king beast and brought a fatal disaster to her elder brother and the other revered elders. She was afraid that those people would not let her go after they return. "Are you very scared? Speaking of which, why did you go to the forest of king beasts to steal the herbs? Do you know that your elder brother was almost killed because of you?" Ning Fan asked in surprise. He just thought that this little girl was spoiled and impulsive. It turned out that she would also be afraid when she did something wrong. "I don't know. At first, I thought that with the heaven-deceiving cloak, I wouldn't be discovered by the king beast as long as I'm careful. This is the blood dragon moss. It's the herb used to cure my mother's illness. Our Yu clan has been searching for it for hundreds of years, but we have never found a single stalk. I didn't expect to see it here. That's why I didn't think too much at that time. I just thought that I must steal this herb. Zhou Ming, does my elder brother hate me to death?" Yu Chong-er lowered her head. Her expression could not be seen clearly. Her shoulders were trembling slightly. She knew that she had made a mistake. However, if she had to do it again, she would still take the risk for her mother. Ning Fan could not help but fall into silence. This Yu Chong-er might be a little willful, but her nature was not bad. "Don't worry. None of them lost their lives. I've already saved them. If we return to the 1st floor, they won't dare to blame you for my sake. However, there are still 19 days before we leave the Dragon Pond. I want to continue fighting on the 2nd floor during these 19 days. It's meaningless for us to return to the 1st floor. Are you crazy? The 2nd floor is so dangerous." Yu Chong-er was exasperated. She thought to herself, is Ning Fan's brain made of wood? Does he not know how dangerous the 2nd floor is? He really doesn't know how terrifying the scene of his white robes bathed in blood was. "It's all right. I have a way to protect myself. Besides, if I can refine this heaven-deceiving cloak, I can even explore the third floor. Ning Fan was not joking. After refining the heaven-deceiving cloak, he could deceive the spirit sense of the void fragmentation realm and sneak into the blood dragon pond. No demon would be able to detect him. Even if he could not refine the cloak, he still had the blood dragon demon sword. It was still possible for him to roam freely in the second floor. As for his safety, he did not need to worry about it at all. However, regarding the blood dragon demon sword, Ning Fan would certainly not explain it to Yu Chong. The heaven-deceiving cloak? That's a profound divinity spiritual equipment. Only void fragmentation realm experts can refine it into their bodies. Yu Chong looked at Ning Fan with uncertainty. She did not think that Ning Fan could refine the profound divinity spiritual equipment. Void fragmentation realm, It's not necessarily impossible for me to refine it. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with confidence. He had already comprehended the 3 void fragmentation realm techniques. Every single thing he did was not earth-shattering. Refining a spiritual equipment might be extremely difficult, but it was not impossible. At the very least, he could give it a try. His confident gaze fell upon Yu Chong's beautiful eyes. Immediately, the latter averted her gaze. Conceit would make a person appear arrogant, while confidence would make a person appear infinitely charming. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes could make one's heart tremble. Perhaps he can really do it. Yu Chong could not help but let her imagination run wild. Chapter 394. The heaven-deceiving cloak was of the profound divinity grade. Once it was refined into one's body, it could even block void fragmentation realm detection. Theoretically speaking, only void fragmentation realm experts could refine the profound divinity spiritual equipment. Even void refinement realm experts would find it difficult to refine it successfully. However, there was only one reason why Ning Fan had great confidence in refining the spirit. Because he was of the Fu Li bloodline, he had the last spirit in this world. The bloodline of the Fu Li clan was very powerful. Ning Fan possessed outstanding talents such as purple wings and illusory eyes. Most importantly, with the help of the Fu Li demon blood, Ning Fan was actually able to display the ancestral bloodline secret technique of the Black Dragon clan several times. The 5 burial dragon technique could only be used by members of the ancestral blood of the Black Dragon clan. However, Ning Fan was able to use it. Moreover, after devouring the ancestral blood of the Black Dragon, a trace of Fu Li ancestral blood was actually condensed in his body. The monster blood of the Fu Li race allowed them to cast the secret arts of other races and devour the ancestral blood of other races to advance their cultivation. From this point alone, they were superior to the other monster races. Spirit, how did I lose it? Ning Fan held the heaven-deceiving cloak in his hand and fell into deep thought. This cloak was sewn from the profound azure cloud thread and then engraved with Yao art formations. On the left shoulder of the cloak, there was a rather special pattern. It seemed to be the emblem of some family. It was a pattern of red clouds. Without paying too much attention to the pattern, Ning Fan released a trace of demonic power, trying to deepen the connection between him and the cloak. At the same time, he invaded the cloak's spirit sense, trying to refine it. Bit by bit, he imprinted the ancestral blood of the Fu Li race onto the cloak. That cloak originally rejected Ning Fan to the extreme, as if it despised Ning Fan for having a low cultivation base, which made him unworthy of refining the cloak. Then, after the Fu Li ancestral blood brand was imprinted on him, the cloaked figure seemed to be afraid of him and no longer dared to resist him. Without the cloak's resistance, Ning Fan would at most need 3 days to refine the heaven-deceiving cloak. Moreover, he would definitely succeed. The result of the test made Ning Fan's eyes lit up with delight, but at the same time, he was secretly shocked. The bloodline of the Fu Li race was truly heaven-defying. With the help of the Fu Li bloodline, it was actually so easy to refine the profound divinity spirit equipment. Seeing that Ning Fan had been sitting in a meditative posture for the entire day, Yu Chong felt a little bored. In the cave, Ning Fan was like a block of wood, ignoring her. Outside the abode, the three void refinement realm gate deities were blocking her way. She could not go out and she did not dare to either. There were void refinement realm ferocious beasts outside. Yu Cheng squatted in the cave out of boredom and secretly observed Ning Fan's expression. When she saw how focused he was, she suddenly became a little dazed. The reason he has such strength is not because of luck. Master once said, "Those who are dedicated to the Tao will go far." That's probably referring to people like him. Yu Cheng was scrutinizing Ning Fan. All of a sudden, she saw him putting down his cloak and looking at her. She quickly averted her eyes and pretended that nothing had happened. "You've been looking at the heaven-deceiving cloak for a whole day. Do you think it's nice?" Yu Cheng loved to tease Ning Fan. "You've been staring at me for half a day. Do I look good?" Ning Fan asked. "Who's looking at you? What's there to look at?" Yu Cheng fiercely shifted her gaze to the side and ignored Ning Fan angrily. Ning Fan also ignored her. He suddenly rose to his feet and put the cloak on his shoulders. Then he continued walking towards the depths of the cave. At the end of the cave, he made a sweeping motion with his sword finger and opened up another stone room. Then he told Yu Cheng not to enter without permission. He wanted to refine the heaven-deceiving cloak. Even though he had already tamed the cloak, it was still risky since he was going to refine it despite his cultivation base. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with nostalgia. He recalled the time when he refined the wind thunder wings in Great Jin. In the ancestral grave of Wei country he had once obtained the enlightening art. Among them, there was also the sacrificial art which could increase the success rate of being recognized by 30%. After sealing the entrance of the stone room, Ning Fan put on the cloak and his body was suddenly engulfed in raging black flames. As the black flames burned, the heaven-deceiving cloak gradually showed signs of fusing into Ning Fan's body. At the same time, he felt an indescribable pain. His eyes widened and he sucked in a deep breath of cold air. The heaven-deceiving cloak was an immortal void-rank treasure. The magic power it contained was tremendous. With Ning Fan's cultivation base, it was naturally painful for him to bear such a powerful spiritual equipment. As the spiritual equipment was being refined, the all-heaven relic in Ning Fan's dantian actually showed signs of being devoured by the cloak. Both of them were treasures that could deceive heaven's secrets. However, the heaven-deceiving cloak was 2 grades higher than the all-heaven relic. One day later, the all-heaven relic was completely devoured by the cloak. 1/3 of the cloak had also been refined into Ning Fan's body. 2 days later, a trace of heaven-deceiving power began to envelop Ning Fan, messing up his fate and heaven's secrets. It was obvious that this heaven-deceiving cloak also had the effect of preventing cultivators from divining other than concealing his body. 3 days later, the cloak was completely refined into his body. Ning Fan kept the black flames in the room and exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. With a thought in his mind, a cloak immediately appeared above his white robes out of nowhere and covered his entire body. Then he disappeared from his original spot without leaving a trace of his qi. After keeping the cloak, Ning Fan's figure appeared on the spot with a satisfied smile on his face. "With this cloak, I can still do some of my own things even if I'm under the nose of a void fragmentation realm expert. It will certainly come in handy in the future." Actually, there was no need for him to wait for the future. Right now, this cloak could already be put to great use. For 3 consecutive days, Ning Fan did not step out of his residence, making Yu Cheng very anxious. Once a spiritual equipment of a higher grade fails to recognize its master, one would suffer a backlash. The stronger the spiritual equipment was, the heavier the backlash would be. Yu Cheng was really worried that Ning Fan would die from the backlash of the cloak if he was not careful. Strange. What does it have to do with me whether Great Devil Lord Zhou is dead or alive? Why should I care about him? That's right. The reason why I care about him is because if he dies, no one would be able to bring me out of the 2nd floor. That must be the case. Yu Cheng seemed to be trying her best to convince herself. She did not notice that the stone door cracked open a little, and Ning Fan turned into a wisp of smoke and flew out lightly. "Miss Cheng, are you worried about me?" Ning Fan asked with a smile. "Do you smell good?" Why would I be worried about you? Yu Chong said in a hypocritical manner. However, when she saw that Ning Fan did not suffer any backlash from the spiritual equipment, she still felt relieved. She thought that Ning Fan had not started to refine the cloak yet. When she thought of the 3 days of fear and anxiety, Yu Chong did not know if her brain was wired wrongly. She actually advised Ning Fan to give up on refining the cloak. Ning Fan smiled without saying a word. Suddenly he grabbed Yu Chong's wrist. With a shake of his body, he flew out of the cave in an instant. What was even more daring was that he did not bring his 3 spiritual puppets with him. Without the Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppets to deter him and the blood sword with him, Ning Fan was targeted by many blood demons almost as soon as he appeared outside the cave. All of a sudden, countless beasts roared and attacked Ning Fan. Yu Chong's small face turned pale with fright. She originally wanted to criticize Ning Fan for not having physical contact between men and women, and try to break free from Ning Fan's evil claws. However, when she saw the group of beasts attacking her, she could not help but feel a little scared. She could not help but move closer to Ning Fan and beg, let's go back quickly. If the Void Refinement Realm blood demons discover us and attack us together, we will die. Are you afraid of death? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Of course I'm afraid. Yu Chong answered honestly. I'm also afraid. So, we just don't let them discover us. Cloak, heaven-deceiving cloak. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. A black cloak suddenly appeared on his body, covering both him and Yu Chong within it. The moment the cloak covered their bodies, the 2 of them seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth, directly disappearing from the eyes of the group of beasts. Even a mid-void refinement realm ferocious beast was confused. It could not understand where the 2 of them had gone. In fact, the 2 of them did not go anywhere. They were still at the same place. They just used the cloak to conceal themselves so that no one could see them. To the heaven-deceiving cloak. You have actually refined the heaven-deceiving cloak. This is an incredible matter. You have actually refined a profound divinity spiritual equipment that is at a higher cultivation level than you. Curling up in Ning Fan's arms, Yu Chong found it unbelievable. Everything felt like a dream. What did this mean? It meant that from today onwards, if Ning Fan could not defeat anyone, he could just summon the cloak and flee calmly. Even a void fragmentation realm old monster might not be able to find him. Help me keep this secret. Ning Fan said solemnly. Why? Yu Chong's cheeks turned red. She did not ask why Ning Fan would keep the cloak a secret. Instead, she asked why Ning Fan was willing to trust her and think that she could keep the secret. There's no particular reason. I'm not afraid of others knowing about the cloak, but I don't like having all my trump cards exposed. Ning Fan obviously did not answer her question. He was not afraid of Yu Chong revealing the secret. He was just used to getting rich quietly. That was all. Ning Fan returned to his cave dwelling and brought the 3 spiritual puppets with him. They traveled on the 2nd floor for 10 days. The 2 of them shuttled through the dense forest, passing by countless ferocious beasts. However, none of the ferocious beasts could detect their presence. Ning Fan would occasionally attack and instantly kill some divine transformation realm blood demons. Then, he would conceal himself with the cloak to avoid the trouble of being besieged. Like this, the success rate of his sneak attacks was extremely high. In the past 10 days, he had actually killed hundreds of wild beasts. As for Yu Chong, she was held in Ning Fan's arms for 10 consecutive days. At first, she was a little averse to it. However, after some time, she accepted it and got used to the feeling of his embrace. Although she was still grumbling incessantly, a strange feeling gradually rose in her heart. 10 days later, Ning Fan and Yu Chong arrived at the central area of the 2nd floor. There was only a pitch-black hole in the ground which seemed bottomless. Judging from the direction of the hole, it probably led to the 3rd floor. There were a few peak void refinement realm ferocious beasts guarding the vicinity of the hole. Once they show themselves, Ning Fan could imagine how easily they would be killed by these ferocious beasts. The 3rd floor of the Blood Dragon Pool was the place where only the reign sovereigns of each generation could enter for seclusion. If one were to trace back to its origin, This blood dragon pool was built by a certain rain sovereign who was a demon pet of Chu Chang, and for his cultivation. As they approached the hole, Ning Fan's eyes widened in surprise. The chi of dragon blood coming out from the hole was unimaginably vast. This made Ning Fan secretly speculate if there were tens of thousands of bottles of dragon blood hidden in the third floor of the cave. Otherwise, how could there be such a vast chi of dragon blood? Zhou Ming, I'm a little scared. Let's go back. We will leave the blood dragon pool in 9 days. It's about time for us to go back. Yu Chong looked at the 4-peak void refinement realm ferocious beasts guarding the hole and trembled. 4-peak void refinement realm ferocious beasts. Perhaps even a true void fragmentation realm expert would have a hard time dealing with them. Even though Yu Chong knew that she was protected by the heaven-deceiving cloak, she still felt scared. She really did not want to die in this place, especially with Ning Fan. I want to explore this hole. If you're scared, you can choose to be knocked unconscious by me and put into my cauldron ring. Ning Fan teased. You still want to knock me unconscious? How dare you? Yu Chong was a little angry. She vaguely remembered that she was knocked unconscious by Ning Fan when she escaped from the encirclement of the void refinement realm beasts last time. This time, Ning Fan's expression actually remained unchanged, and he even said such words that showed no tenderness towards the fairer sex. It was really infuriating. Do you think I dare or not? This is... Ning Fan was just joking at first. However, after activating his Fu Li demon eyes and seeing the scene at the end of the hole, his expression suddenly changed. He had never expected that the so-called third floor of the blood dragon pool would actually look like this. In this world, he was probably the only one who could enter the seclusion place of the previous Rain Sovereign. Therefore, in order to not expose some of his secrets, he really had to knock Yu Chong unconscious. I'm sorry. You look so scared. Sleep for a while first. I'll wake you up 9 days later. Ning Fan did not give Yu Chong any chance to resist. Without showing any tenderness towards the fairer sex, he pointed a finger at her shoulder and collarbone. A trace of plucking finger force entered her body. Yu Chong's consciousness gradually fell into a daze. She naturally knew that Ning Fan was really trying to knock her unconscious. She angrily bit Ning Fan's shoulder and fainted just like that. However, before she fainted, she suddenly felt shocked. I'm really shameless. I actually bit Ning Fan's shoulder. It's really unsightly for me to do such an ambiguous act. I'm sorry. Ning Fan let out a sigh. I'm afraid that the third floor is a great opportunity for him. Therefore, it was indeed inappropriate for him to let Yu Chong follow him. He had a lot of secrets. It might not necessarily be a good thing for Yu Chong to know about it. After keeping Yu Chong into his cauldron ring for the time being, Ning Fan's figure flashed and flew towards the third floor of the underground cave. He could feel that the chi of the dragon blood in this place was getting stronger and stronger. Perhaps, there really were tens of thousands of bottles of dragon blood in this place. The seclusion place of the previous Rain Sovereigns. Ever since the generation of Hong Yun, no one else could enter this place. Even the current Rain Sovereign did not know what kind of scene it was. Today, it was Ning Fan's turn to enter this place. Chapter 395. Ning Fan moved stealthily in the underground cave. He didn't know how far he had walked, but at the end of the dark tunnel stood a giant silver door. The gate was 100,000 feet tall, and there were 12 silver stone lions standing outside. However, when Ning Fan's figure appeared and approached the stone lions, the dull eyes of the 12 stone lions turned to Ning Fan's and emitted a cold, murderous intent. It was as if he would be killed by the 12 stone lions if he went any closer to the giant door. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. If he was not wrong, these 12 stone lions were the product of some kind of formation. It was built here because it was infused with the power of the formation to protect the gate and attack all trespassers. Each of the 12 stone lions emitted the chi of a first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Once attacked by the 12 stone lions, even if it was the Rain Emperor, he would probably suffer some injuries. These stone lions couldn't be brought away or moved away. The fact that they were sculpted in this place gave Ning Fan a great shock. The Rain Emperor who built the Blood Dragon Pool was so generous. He actually used 12 Void Fragmentation Realm Stone statues to protect him during his seclusion. You should know that even the current Rain Palace only has 11 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, including the current Rain Sovereign. After calming himself down, Ning Fan halted his steps and no longer dared to approach the giant door without permission. It was rumored that ever since the Red Cloud Rain Emperor, there had already been 3 generations of Rain Emperors who had not been able to enter this place to cultivate. There must be a reason behind this. Regarding this reason, Ning Fan had already guessed it before entering the underground cave. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the 12 stone lions and finally landed on an inconspicuous groove on the giant door. The groove was only the size of a palm, as if something had to be inserted to open the giant door. Without this object, even if the stone lions didn't attack the visitor wouldn't be able to open the giant door. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a silver token. That token was precisely the Rain Emperor's token that he had obtained from the 8th floor of the Lost World Tower. The 3rd level of the Blood Dragon Pool was a cultivation ground specially prepared for the Rain Emperor. Why is it that no one can enter the Red Cloud first generation? When he saw the indent, he already had a guess. The size of the indent was exactly the same as the Rain Sovereign's token. Most likely, all of this was related to the Rain Emperor's token. After Hong Yun, there were already 3 generations of Rain Emperors who had lost their Rain Emperor's badge. Now that this item had fallen into Ning Fan's hands, he wondered if he could open the cultivation treasure vault that even the 3 generations of Rain Sovereigns could not open. Whether it's true or not, we'll know once we try. If I still get attacked by the stone lions with this token, I will immediately use the heaven-deceiving cloak to escape. Even though these stone lions have the strength of a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert, they might not be able to detect my whereabouts. Ning Fan made up his mind and stepped into the attacking range of the stone lions. Vigilance rose in his heart. The moment the stone lions showed any signs of attacking, he would immediately retreat in stealth. The moment Ning Fan stepped into the attacking range of the stone lions, the killing intent of the 12 stone lions locked onto him. However, when the empty gazes of the 12 lions landed on the Rain Emperor's token, their killing intent immediately disappeared. Amidst the rumbling sounds, the 12 stone lions actually knelt on their knees and lowered their heads to Ning Fan's direction. After they kowtowed, 12 ancient and stiff voices came out. "Greetings, Divine Emperor." Ning Fan's eyes lit up with joy. As expected, the key to opening the 3rd level of the Blood Dragon Pool was this Rain Emperor's token. But in the next moment, Ning Fan's eyes widened in shock. When the 12 stone lions knelt down, there was an indescribable pressure pressing down on Ning Fan's. That pressure did not have any malicious intent. That pressure was produced by void fragmentation realm experts who knelt down. When one's cultivation base reached the void fragmentation realm, he or she already had a connection with the heavenly Tao and was about to become an immortal. Not everyone could accept the kneeling of a void fragmentation realm expert. If one's aura was not strong enough, he or she might even be kneeled to death by a void fragmentation realm expert. Even an early void refinement realm expert would probably die from kneeling to the 12 void fragmentation realm stone lions. Even a peak void refinement realm expert would not be able to avoid getting injured. Ning Fan continuously took 100 steps back. However, the aura force, which was as vast as the sea, was getting closer and closer to him. This scene was similar to the scene when he went up the Bright Moon Tower in the northern desert city of the Luo Yun tribe. He was subdued by the aura force, comprehended the aura force ascension technique, and comprehended the Sovereign Shadow's ability. Sovereign Shadow. Ning Fan stopped moving. His eyes shone with golden light, and a golden shadow that was several zhang tall appeared behind him. At the moment when the golden shadow appeared, Ning Fan's body was enveloped in golden light. He took a step forward and stepped into the aura force without any fear. "Break." He uttered the word coldly, as if he had become a void fragmentation realm sovereign expert after adding the Sovereign Shadow. With the might of the Sovereign Shadow, it actually shattered the power of the 12 stone lions who knelt down and kowtowed. All of you rise. Yes. The 12 stone lions slowly rose to their feet. Once again, their spirituality was greatly reduced and they became ordinary stone statues. Ning Fan looked at the sovereign shadow behind him and calmed himself down. If he did not condense the sovereign shadow, he would probably be injured and killed by the aura force. The 3 void fragmentation realm techniques were incarnation, soul extraction, and sovereign shadow. The first 2 were the secret techniques that Ning Fan used the most. The incarnation technique would first create a clone and devour it. The clone could then turn illusory into a real body and defend against many attacks. Moreover, the clone could also extend many secret techniques from the clone, such as the Black Tempest soul-splitting technique. The soul extraction technique would extract the souls of all living beings in the world to improve one's magic power. It was a secret technique that countless cultivators yearned to learn. As for the sovereign shadow, it had a greater use. The aura force of the sovereign shadow was one of its uses, but it was not its true purpose. The ultimate purpose of condensing the sovereign shadow was to refine the sovereign chi. However, it was not something that any cultivator could achieve. When the sovereign chi is cultivated to a certain extent, it could devour heavenly lightning and earthly fire, block calamities and tribulations, conceal the heavenly secrets and immortal souls. It could also be used as a supreme offensive technique. The incarnation technique focused on defense while the soul extraction technique focused on support. As for the sovereign shadow, it focused on offense. Ning Fan condensed the sovereign shadow, but it did not have a trace of sovereign chi. Rumor had it that among the 11 void fragmentation realm experts in the Rain Palace, only the Rain Sovereign had completely condensed a trace of sovereign chi. Even Chu Chang'an, who had served several generations of divine sovereigns, only managed to condense half a trace of sovereign chi. Even so, many people still respectfully addressed Old Man Chu as Sovereign Chu. The word sovereign represented the sovereign chi. A trace of sovereign chi was as light as cotton, but it could suppress mountains and rivers. If Ning Fan had a trace of sovereign chi and knelt down to the 12 stone lions, the one who would be injured would certainly not be him but the stone lions. In the 9 worlds, even an ordinary void fragmentation realm expert would not be able to withstand the kneeling of a sovereign chi. The reason why the sovereign rain primordial art given to him by Hong Yun was listed as the strongest cultivation method of the Rain Palace was because it recorded several secret techniques that utilized sovereign chi. When the Rain Sovereigns of the past condensed their sovereign chi and displayed their secret techniques, it would be difficult for them to find a match for those at the same level as them unless they were facing a sovereign expert. Ning Fan stared at the sovereign shadow and fell into deep thought. Currently, he did not have any sovereign chi. Other than using the sovereign shadow to block some of the aura force, he could not use it to attack at all. To Ning Fan, sovereign chi was something that he could only hope to obtain. If he condenses his sovereign chi at this moment, he would probably become a sovereign expert of the Rain world. It was just too ridiculous. Without the obstruction of the stone lions, Ning Fan walked closer to the giant door. The door was also emitting a vast aura force. Fortunately, Ning Fan was not afraid of the aura force of the giant door with the help of the sovereign shadow. With a flick of his finger, he inserted the Rain Sovereign token into the groove. Immediately, the giant door let out a loud rumbling sound and slowly opened. After keeping the Rain Sovereign token, Ning Fan took a step into the giant door. In an instant, the giant door slowly closed. No one knew that Ning Fan had entered the forbidden area that even 3 generations of Rain Sovereigns could not enter. As far as the eye could see, this place was a splendid and magnificent palace. This palace was only used for the cultivation of the past Rain Sovereigns. In the middle of the palace, there was a circular pool that was only several zhang in size. It was filled with dragon blood. It seemed to be used for people to soak in it and cultivate. On the roof of the palace directly above the blood pool, there was a tiny hole that seemed to be connected to the 1st and 2nd floors. It continuously drew the dragon blood of countless blood demons into this place. Ning Fan's gaze fell upon the blood pool and he immediately took a deep breath. This blood pool was filled with dragon blood. There were probably tens of thousands of pots of it. How much magic power would be contained in such a large amount of dragon blood? This dragon blood was collected drop by drop from the blood dragon pool. If it was the era of the previous rain sovereigns, they would certainly not be able to accumulate so much dragon blood. Perhaps just half of the pool would be completely refined by the previous rain sovereigns. Ning Fan was lucky. It had been 3 generations since the last rain sovereign came to the 3rd floor of the blood dragon pool. All of the dragon blood was accumulated here, waiting for Ning Fan to enjoy it. Ning Fan stared at the pool of dragon blood. He was absolutely reluctant to use this pool of dragon blood to soak in it. 10,000 jugs of dragon blood brewed into blood wine would be equivalent to 50 million units of magic power. It was highly possible for him to break through to the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm after devouring the entire pool of dragon blood. From this blood pool, Ning Fan could almost see the hope of ascending to the heavens with a single step. However, a moment later, he seemed to have noticed something. Immediately, a bucket of cold water was poured over his head. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Destroyed. Even though there was a lot of dragon blood in this pool, it was all destroyed by this pool. There was a great formation set up in the blood pool, and all of the dragon blood was converted into bath water, so it could no longer be used to brew wine. Ning Fan could only choose to take a bath in this place. It was impossible for him to refine the dragon blood and attain the void fragmentation realm. Even if Ning Fan's Tao heart was firm, he could not help but feel a little shaken. When a cultivator who had been cultivating painstakingly and longing to reach the void fragmentation realm suddenly saw the hope of breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, how joyous would that be? When he found out that his joy was for naught, how sad was that? However, his Tao heart only wavered for a moment before it was stopped by Ning Fan. He gazed at the pool of blood in silence, pondered carefully, and then came to an understanding. To a divine transformation realm or void refinement realm cultivator, the blood wine brewed from this pool of dragon blood had the hope of breaking through to the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, to the rain sovereign who was at the void fragmentation realm, the magic power contained in this pool of dragon blood was perhaps insignificant. The rain sovereign who built this blood dragon pool must have spent so much effort to build this pool of blood for bathing. It was certainly not just for bathing. With Ning Fan's intelligence, he immediately guessed that this blood pool must be of great importance to the rain sovereign's cultivation. That purpose was even more important than breaking through to the next level of cultivation. Therefore, this dragon blood was not used to brew wine but to build a pool. Ning Fan made up his mind and scanned the palace with his eyes as if he was searching for something. In this palace, other than this blood pool, there were also many good things. On an ancient shelf, there were many jade slips and ancient books. Ning Fan flipped through them one by one. To his surprise, he found out that the jade slips here were the cultivation experiences of cultivators. Not only did they come from the rain world, but there were also those from other worlds as well. Moreover, there were even the experiences of ancient immortals. The focus of these experiences were all sovereign shadow and sovereign qi. Other than that, Ning Fan also found piles of immortal jade at the end of the palace and Tao crystals. A Tao crystal was equivalent to 5 million immortal jade. There were at least 1,000 Tao crystals in this place, which was equivalent to 5 billion immortal jade. Apart from that, the engravings on the walls of the palace were filled with pictures and words. When Ning Fan looked at them carefully with his spirit sense, he found out that the pictures and words recorded the experiences of the previous rain sovereigns when they cultivated the sovereign shadow and condensed their sovereign qi. At the end of the palace, Ning Fan found a stone platform with a round crystal enshrined on it. As soon as he saw the crystal, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. This crystal was actually the inheritance crystal that could only be found in the 4 heavens immortal worlds. The inheritance crystal could directly pass on the cultivation experiences of cultivation methods and secret techniques to the cultivators of the later generations. As for how much inheritance one could obtain, it would depend on the cultivator's innate talent and comprehension ability. A bold guess rose in Ning Fan's mind. Everything in this place was related to the sovereign shadow and sovereign qi. Could it be that the purpose of building the blood pool was to help the previous rain sovereigns condense their sovereign qi and become sovereigns? If that's the case, could Ning Fan use the resources here to condense his first trace of sovereign qi? In the Rain Palace, there was only one Rain Sovereign who could condense sovereign qi. From today onwards, would there be another Ning Fan? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with excitement. If everything was as he had guessed, the blood pool existed to condense sovereign qi. Without a doubt, bathing in the dragon blood was much more cost-effective than directly increasing his magic power. Whether it was as he had guessed, he would know once he examined the crystal. Ning Fan wanted to see what kind of inheritance the previous Rain Sovereigns had left behind in this place. He pressed his palm on the crystal. At the next moment, countless memories were transmitted into his body from the crystal. In his sea of consciousness, he seemed to hear a voice that was teaching him. I am the demonic cloud Rain Sovereign. I set up the dragon pool for the future Rain Sovereigns to condense sovereign qi. After hearing this voice, countless memories flowed into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness like tidal waves. Ning Fan's eyes became even more fervent. Among those memories, it even included the entire cultivation method of the sovereign rain primordial art. In the end, he was able to confirm one thing. This place was indeed prepared for the purpose of gathering the monarch qi. If he can condense a trace of sovereign qi, he could completely suppress an early void refinement realm cultivator even if he was a divine transformation realm cultivator. Chapter 396. Layers of vast memories entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Compared to ancient chaos memories, the inheritance crystal didn't contain as much memories. The memories of the ancient chaos included medicine, divination, astrology, and countless profound principles of cultivation. And within this crystal, only the fiendish cloud Rain Emperor's comprehension of Sovereign's shadow and Sovereign's qi were inherited. Naturally, there were some secret arts of the Rain Palace. The bewitching cloud Rain Emperor cultivated sovereign qi, and what he relied on was the sovereign rain origin art. As a result, the inheritance crystal had an extremely clear analysis of this art. An hour later, the light from the crystal gradually dimmed. He moved his palm away from the crystal and closed his eyes, digesting the memories and comprehensions in his sea of consciousness. Not only was there the demonic cloud Rain Emperor's comprehension, there was also the comprehension of several generations of Rain Emperors. The demonic cloud's Rain Sovereign became famous 70,000 years ago in Chuchang, and was also a void fragmentation realm senior of that era. Therefore, even though Chuchang was a member of the demon race and was not accepted by the Rain Palace, he was still an indispensable figure in the Rain Palace because of his illustrious identity. After Yao Yun's death, there were 2 generations of Rain Sovereigns. None of them were titled Rain Sovereigns until Hong Yun broke through to the 6th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm and obtained another title. Hong Yun was the last Rain Emperor who had received the inheritance and left behind his comprehension. This meant that there was a total of the comprehensions of 4 Rain Emperors in the crystal. After Hong Yun, it was another 3 generations before the current generation. This generation's Rain Emperor had never obtained this kind of comprehension. Ning Fan obtained it. Not only did he gain enlightenment, but there was also an indescribable power in the crystal that helped Ning Fan break through all the bottlenecks of the first 5 layers of primordial art. Half a day later, Ning Fan opened his eyes and digested all the inheritance of the cultivation method. The comprehension of the sovereign qi of the 4 divine sovereigns was no trivial matter. After receiving their guidance, Ning Fan had nearly comprehended all the key points of the 7 levels of the sovereign rain primordial art. Since Ning Fan had already comprehended the cultivation method, he entered the profound Yin world. In the profound Yin world, a day's worth of cultivation was 100 times that of the outside world. 3 days was equivalent to 300 days of bitter cultivation. With the insights of the 4 divine sovereigns and the breakthrough of the bottleneck of the first 5 levels of the cultivation method, Ning Fan had completely cultivated the sovereign rain primordial art to the 5th level. 3 days later, Ning Fan was expelled from the profound Yin world. As such, there were still 5 days left until they left the blood dragon pool. Ning Fan kept away all the immortal jades, Tao crystals, jade slips and ancient books. Then, he stood beside the blood pool with a solemn expression. By chance, he had entered the third level of the Blood Dragon Pool and opened the inheritance that 3 generations of divine emperors had failed to open. If he couldn't use the blood pool to condense a strand of sovereign chi, how could he be satisfied? Now that the Monarch Reign Origin Art had reached the 5th layer, he could condense enough monarch chi. There was more dragon blood in the pool than there was when Yao Yun, Hong Yun, and the other reign emperors of the past 4 generations had condensed their sovereign chi, so there was naturally no shortage of dragon blood. The insights of the 4 divine sovereigns could also prevent Ning Fan from making any mistakes while condensing the sovereign chi. His luck was purple, and the situation of the heavens not protecting him would not occur. The right time and the right place to condense the monarch chi were all perfect. All that was lacking was the people. If Ning Fan fails to condense the sovereign chi, the only possible reason would be that his cultivation base is too low. Which of the past reign sovereigns who had condensed the sovereign chi was not at the void fragmentation realm? How could a divine transformation realm cultivator like Ning Fan enter the blood pool and condense his sovereign chi? However, among all the past reign emperors, including Yao Yun, which one of them had managed to form an emperor's shadow when they were at the deity transformation stage? Ning Fan's cultivation base was too low. It was the biggest uncertainty in the condensation of sovereign chi. Even so, he still wanted to give it a try. If he succeeded in condensing the sovereign chi and broke through to the void fragmentation realm in the future, he would certainly be invincible among those at the same level as him, unless he was a sovereign expert. Since Moksha Sovereign was the divine sovereign of the devil world, he must have the sovereign chi in his body. In that case, how could Ning Fan be weaker than Moksha Sovereign? With a solemn expression, Ning Fan took a step into the blood pool and immersed himself in it. The moment his skin came into contact with the dragon blood, it immediately burned and festered. This was dragon blood. All the dragon blood added up to a few 100 million units of magic power. As he immersed himself in the purest form of magic power, he felt as if his 5 internal organs were burning. As soon as his blood chi touched his body, his mind was immediately thrown into chaos and his eyes turned blood red. Without any hesitation, he circulated the Monarch Reign Origin Art. Relying on the Origin Art to protect his body, his mind gradually became clear. After summoning the Sovereign's shadow, Ning Fan's eyes shone like a deity and his aura was as powerful as the sun and the moon. He frantically formed hand seals at the bottom of the blood pool. His body was too weak to withstand the might of the dragon blood. However, his emperor's shadow did not hurt or die. It could be used as a vessel for a pool of dragon blood. Refine. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with madness. He was going to refine all the magic power of the hundreds of millions of units into his emperor's shadow. Traces of dragon blood entered the shadow. Even though the emperor's shadow still did not have a face, it became more solid. A golden vortex rose from the heart of the emperor's shadow. As soon as the vortex took shape, the vast amount of dragon blood was sucked into the shadow uncontrollably. The faint golden emperor's shadow began to emit a layer of blood light. In just 2 hours, all the dragon blood in the entire pool was absorbed by the emperor's shadow. The first step is a success. Ning Fan sat cross-legged at the bottom of the blood pool with a hint of joy in his eyes. There were 3 steps to condense the sovereign chi. The first step was to condense the natal sovereign's shadow of the cultivator. Otherwise, the cultivator would not be qualified to condense the sovereign chi at all. In other words, Ning Fan had only completed the first step when he condensed the sovereign's shadow in the past. The second step was to prepare enough spiritual herbs and spiritual items for the sovereign's shadow. Through cultivation and comprehension, the sovereign's shadow would gradually devour the power of those natural treasures. This process required a void fragmentation realm expert to spend countless years comprehending and cultivating a sovereign chi cultivation method. Ning Fan had obtained the cultivation method and comprehension from the crystal of inheritance. There were tens of thousands of bottles of dragon blood in the pool. They had also provided sufficient nourishment for the sovereign's shadow to condense the sovereign chi. Next, there was only the third step left, to completely condense the sovereign chi. This step required the cultivator to merge with the sovereign's shadow. This step was the one that Ning Fan was the most worried about. His cultivation base was too low. If he merges with the sovereign's shadow, the massive power of the pool of dragon blood would undoubtedly be added to his body. In an instant, Ning Fan's body might directly explode from the power of the dragon blood. His palms were slightly sweaty. This was undoubtedly another huge gamble. Giving up the third step would mean losing the chance to condense the sovereign qi. However, there was no need for him to take the risk. Choosing the third step would give him the chance to condense the sovereign qi, but he might also suffer a severe backlash. Between life and death, Ning Fan's mind was in a mess. However, when his sea of consciousness recalled the scenes of gratitude and vengeance, his heart suddenly calmed down. He could not run away. If he had run away in the past, Wei Liang would have already died in the hands of Zhang Qing. Her soul would have been completely destroyed and she would not have the chance to reunite with him in her next life. If he had run away in the past, the 7 Apricot City would have been razed to the ground by Moksha Sovereign and he would certainly become a stray dog from that day onwards. The incarnation technique can ensure that I won't die even if I lose. The Black Star technique can ensure that I won't die even if I get injured. Even if I lose, I will only suffer heavy injuries and lose my cultivation base. If I succeed, I will also be a sovereign realm expert from today onwards. I want to become a sovereign realm expert. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. A wave of resolute aura force rose from his body. As his aura force rose, a trace of the qi of the insect sovereign's blood in his blood resonated with it. That blood was a gift from Yu Chong. That blood was once the blood of her reincarnation as the insect sovereign. With this blood, Ning Fan's chances of condensing the sovereign qi would be much higher. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan took a step forward and overlapped with the sovereign's shadow. As soon as the sovereign's shadow, which was glowing with blood-red light, merged with Ning Fan, faint golden light of burning blood immediately rose around his body. A vast magic power burst out from his body. In just an instant, his physical body was torn into pieces by the power of the dragon blood. However, by using the incarnation, the black shadow regained its form. Even though its face was pale, it was fearless. Refine. Ning Fan's fingers moved rapidly and forcefully refined the dragon blood into the sovereign's shadow. Traces of faint golden threads began to take shape within the sovereign's shadow. The light of the dragon blood on the sovereign's shadow was slowly diminishing. As for Ning Fan, he extracted all the souls of the earth and summoned his 5 natal stars. He then consumed half a bottle of healing medicine to recover his injuries at a crazy rate. Rumble. Before Ning Fan's injuries were fully healed, his body exploded for the second time. He was still determined to refine the sovereign qi without any fear in his eyes. I want to become a sovereign realm expert. A sense of pride rose in Ning Fan's heart. He had always been a proud person. His pride was not about fighting to the death for an undeserved reputation or a quarrel. His pride was not about submitting to any power or authority for his entire life. He wanted to become a sovereign who ruled over others instead of being ruled by others. Today, he condensed the first trace of sovereign qi. In the future, he would become an immortal sovereign and stand at the peak of 1 billion worlds. Rumbled in the past 5 days, Ning Fan's body exploded again and again. However, he reformed his body every time to suppress his injuries. On the first day, his body exploded 102 times. On the second day, his body exploded 75 times. On the third day, his body exploded 51 times. On the fourth day, his body exploded 12 times. On the fifth day, his body only exploded 3 times. The power of the dragon blood was becoming weaker and weaker. It was no longer dangerous. As time went by, Ning Fan's body shone like a golden god. His eyes shone like the sun and moon and his aura was like the firmament. Above his body, there was a golden light in the shape of a dragon soaring around his body. The first trace of sovereign qi was completely condensed. He was just 1 step away from success. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with pride. He suddenly raised his head and stared at the firmament coldly, as if he was talking to the heavens. I want to become a sovereign realm expert. Rumbled, he opened his mouth and swallowed the dragon-shaped golden light into his abdomen. Then, his eyes suddenly became domineering. A vast aura force swept across the entire palace. Countless ancient bookshelves were directly lifted away by Ning Fan's aura force. He performed a hand seal and a sovereign's shadow suddenly appeared behind him. This sovereign's shadow still did not have a face, but it grew to 10 zhang tall from 10 zhang tall. Its color also changed from pale gold to pure gold. Ning Fan stomped on the ground and the ground immediately trembled. A trace of sovereign qi swirled around his body. I succeeded. His eyes were calm. He knew that he would succeed. Because if he fails, he would keep trying until he succeeds. The passage to the Blood Dragon pool had already been opened. Now, Ning Fan could leave the pool at any time. Ning Fan held the Rain Sovereign token in his hand and pointed at it indifferently. A ray of golden light went into the token. Under the activation of the Sovereign Qi, his figure suddenly disappeared from the 3rd level and reappeared on the 2nd level. With his eyes that had condensed Sovereign Qi, he could naturally see that the Rain Sovereign token had the ability to leave the pool at any time. However, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he appeared in front of an early Void Refinement Realm ferocious beast on the 2nd level of the swamp. His eyes were indifferent. He did not summon his Void Refinement Realm spiritual puppet, nor did he take out his Blood Dragon demon sword. He just wanted to confront the beast with his Sovereign Qi. Roar! The Void Refinement Realm ferocious beast panicked a little when it saw Ning Fan appearing out of nowhere. However, it calmed down immediately. It could not understand why an early Void Refinement Realm being like it would lose its composure when facing a Divine Transformation Realm being. It could not understand why an early Void Refinement Realm being like it would lose its composure when facing a Divine Transformation Realm being. Very soon, it got rid of its fear. It was a Void Refinement Realm being. Why would it be afraid of a Divine Transformation Realm being? This is ridiculous. It opened its mouth and spat out a ray of natal green lightning. In an instant, it turned into 1 million rays of lightning as if it was going to engulf Ning Fan. In the past, Ning Fan could only evade such terrifying lightning. Even if he uses his incarnation to block it, he would still suffer severe injuries. This time, however, Ning Fan would not evade it. With a flick of his finger, a ray of golden light shot out and soared into the sky like a flying dragon. As soon as the golden light soared into the sky, it immediately split into 1 million rays and turned into countless rays of golden light that covered the entire sky. The golden rays of light slowly condensed into a gigantic golden mountain that was 10,000 zhang tall. That gigantic mountain pressed down on the Void Refinement Realm ferocious beast's head. As soon as the 1 million rays of green lightning touched the golden mountain, they all collapsed and dissipated. Its falling speed was even faster than the traveling speed of a late Void Refinement Realm cultivator. The Void Refinement Realm ferocious beast had no way to evade it at all. Boom! As soon as the golden mountain pressed down, the ferocious beast's spine was crushed. Its blood flowed like a river as it fell to the ground and died. As for that suppressive force, it directly caused the 2nd level of the blood pool to shake violently. Countless Void Refinement Realm ferocious beasts began to panic. All the ferocious beasts whose cultivation bases were lower than the mid-Void Refinement Realm looked at Ning Fan with unprecedented shock. All of them hid in a corner, afraid that Ning Fan would appear out of nowhere again to suppress them. Terrifying. It's too terrifying. That gigantic golden mountain killed a Void Refinement Realm ferocious beast just by pressing down. Its destructive power was too terrifying. Is this the power of Sovereign Qi? A single trace of Sovereign Qi is enough to kill an early Void Refinement Realm expert. If there are 10 traces, 100 traces, 1,000 traces, or even 10,000 traces, how destructive would its destructive power be? Sovereign Qi is an offensive technique among the 3 Void Fragmentation Realm techniques. Ning Fan dispersed his Sovereign Qi. With just a casual glance, he scared the beasts away. The suppression of this trace of Sovereign Qi by the Golden Mountain had nearly exhausted all of his magic power. Even though Sovereign Qi was powerful, its consumption was also huge. After keeping the Void Refinement Realm Dragon Blood, Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. Today, he killed an early void refinement realm expert for the first time with his own strength. Today, he was at the void refinement realm. In the future, he would be at the void fragmentation realm. The day he killed Moksha Sovereign with his own hands wouldn't be too far away. Time to go. The group of demonic beasts had already gathered and Ning Fan's magic power had been depleted. It would be difficult for him to instantly kill the other void refinement realm beasts. There was no point in staying here any longer. It was more important to return to the Dragon Lake and complete Senior Yun's test. If Ning Fan returns late, no one knew if Yun Tianjue would lose the bet. He didn't want to see Yun Tianjue's furious expression after losing his beloved sword. As soon as he activated the Rain Sovereign's token, Ning Fan's figure gradually faded and disappeared from the second floor. The Rain Palace of the Middle State was in an uproar. In the ancestral temple of the Rain Palace, the giant statue of the Rain Ancestor that was worshipped day and night shone with golden light. Tens of millions of miles of land in the Middle Continent were covered in golden clouds. As a cultivator of the Middle Continent, it was impossible for him to not know the meaning behind such a phenomenon. The new Rain Emperor had been born. But how could this be possible? The current Rain Emperor had yet to pass away, so how could a new Rain Emperor be born? Who condensed sovereign qi? Was it Yun Xiaoxiang or Yun Tianjue? The Rain Sovereign gathered countless experts of the Middle State and questioned them the moment he opened his mouth. It seemed like even he did not understand why the statue of the Rain Ancestor would show such an unusual phenomenon. Even though he did not know the reason, he could guess that someone in the Rain world must have condensed sovereign qi using the sovereign Rain primordial art. Otherwise, the statue of the Rain Ancestor would not show such an unusual phenomenon. Who could it be? Yun Xiaoxiang was the second prince and also the biological son of the current Rain Sovereign. If Yun Xiaoxiang condensed sovereign qi, the Rain Sovereign would certainly be happy. However, if it was Yun Tianjue, he was not the biological son of the Rain Sovereign. He became the divine son with his own strength. If he condensed sovereign qi, wouldn't it mean that he would definitely become the next Rain Sovereign? Although the Rain Sovereign did not say it out loud, he certainly did not want the Rain Palace to fall into the hands of outsiders. Yun Xiaoxiang had yet to return from his travels, and Yun Tianjue seemed to be in the Dragon Deciding Valley. If it was not Yun Tianjue who condensed the sovereign qi, it was most likely Yun Xiaoxiang. Father, the one who condensed the sovereign qi is certainly not Yun Tianjue. When I fought with him a month ago, his strength had already recovered to the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He was extremely strong. However, his attacks were still filled with terrifying baleful qi. It's definitely not the graceful demeanor of a sovereign cultivator. He certainly doesn't have the sovereign qi on him. Yun Jinghong clasped his fists as he spoke. He was also the son of the Rain Emperor. There were still wounds on his face. Surprisingly, they were inflicted by Yun Tianjue's myriad sword style. He was unwilling to see Yun Tianjue become the next divine emperor, so he was trying his best to prove that Yun Tianjue had not condensed the sovereign qi. Although he harbored ill intentions, he did not lie. Yun Tianjue had never condensed sovereign qi before. If it's not Tianju, then it must be Xiaoxiang. The Rain Emperor's expression relaxed. If it was Yun Xiaoxiang, then not only was this not some grievous news, it was instead a good thing. Not me. Just as the Rain Emperor smiled, a cold voice traveled over from outside the palace. It was none other than Yun Xiaoxiang, who had just returned from a long journey. It's not him, it's not him. His words stunned all the cultivators of the Middle Continent. Could they be the four great void fragmentation realm experts? Impossible. The four great void fragmentation realm experts have special identities, but none of them have the qualifications to comprehend the sovereign qi. Even Chu Chang, and had only condensed half a trace of the sovereign qi, and it was given to him by the late emperor. Apart from Yun Tianjue and Yun Xiaoxiang, no one else among the six princes possessed the aptitude to condense monarch qi. If it wasn't Yun Tianjue or Yun Xiaoxiang, who could it be? Or could it be that the statue of the Rain Ancestor had malfunctioned and was broken? That phenomenon, was it because something was wrong with the ancestral statue? No one dared to say that the statue of the Rain Ancestor was broken. That was treason. In an instant, a sudden storm swept across the Middle State and even spread to the entire Rain world. Who is the true God Emperor of the human world? Chapter 397. With the Rain Sovereign's token, Ning Fan's figure disappeared from the second floor and returned to the 13th swamp on the first floor. Summoning Yu Chong, he removed the plucking finger's power and pulled her into his embrace, quietly waiting for her to wake up. With a soft moan, Yu Chong slowly woke up. The first thing she saw was Ning Fan's detestable face. Before she was fully awake, she subconsciously bit Ning Fan's shoulder and mumbled something in her sleep. "Zhou Ming, you bully me. You knocked me out. You're shameless." After scolding him, the little girl closed her eyes and leaned on Ning Fan's shoulder to fall asleep. She even stretched out her arms and wrapped them around Ning Fan's neck as if she was hugging a pillow. Ning Fan instantly felt speechless. This little girl seems to hate me. Moreover, she seems to hate me so much that she can't forget about me. What did she treat Ning Fan as? The bed? The pillow? You can sleep with me and bite me as you please? Yu Chong, I'll give you 3 breaths. Wake up quickly. Ning Fan said indifferently. So noisy, can't you let me sleep? Yu Chong rubbed her eyes and gradually regained consciousness. When Yu Chong saw that she was actually curling up in Ning Fan's embrace in an extremely ambiguous manner and had even wrapped her arms around his neck, her face immediately turned as red as blood. "Zhou Ming, you're shameless. You knocked me out and took advantage of me." "I took advantage of you?" Ning Fan was so angry that he laughed. This little girl must have a bad memory. She was the one who forcefully kissed him. She was the one who used him as a pillow and refused to get up. Did Ning Fan take advantage of a copper coin from her? "Who knows if you did something to me while I was asleep?" Yu Chong retorted. Then, she struggled out of Ning Fan's embrace and hid at the side as if she was fleeing. After carefully inspecting his clothes and confirming that there were no signs of him taking them off, he used his divine sense to check his body. Only after confirming that his primordial Yin was still present did he heave a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there were no signs of Ning Fan sleeping with her. At least Ning Fan still has some humanity left. Ning Fan saw all of her expressions, leaving him speechless. If Ning Fan wants to pluck a divine transformation realm cultivator, does he need to knock them unconscious? "You're awake." All right then, let's go." "Where to?" "Find your brother. You've been unconscious for 9 days. Today is the day you leave." No, I don't dare to go." After hearing Ning Fan's words, Yu Chong immediately felt a lingering fear. She didn't dare to look for her brother. Her impulsiveness had caused Yu Bai and the others to be in danger. She didn't dare to imagine how much her brother would hate her. "What are you afraid of?" "You went to the forest of king beasts to steal medicinal herbs and escaped from the mouths of void refinement realm ferocious beasts. So you, Yu Chong, are so timid? Don't you dare to go back and accept the punishment for your mistakes?" Ning Fan stared at Yu Chong deeply and tried to provoke her. "I'm not afraid of being punished. I'm just afraid that Big Brother will hate me." Yu Chong pursed her lips as her face turned slightly pale. She was not afraid of death or punishment. She was only afraid that her big brother would hate her for the rest of his life. "You even dared to bite me. Are you afraid that your brother will hate you?" "Bah, I didn't bite you." "So my shoulder was bitten by a dog? You are shameless." Yu Chong retorted. She did not notice that her initial fear had faded a lot after hearing Ning Fan's words. When she thought about it carefully, she realized that she had made a mistake after all. Fortunately, Ning Fan had saved her big brother and the others. At least, she still had a chance to make up for her mistake. She rolled her eyes at Ning Fan. Then, she patted her storage pouch and took out a jade pendant. She seemed to be able to determine the direction of Yu Bai and the others with the help of the pendant. "Zhou Ming, you're right. I shouldn't be afraid. Even if Big Brother hates me, I still have to go back and apologize to him. Thank you for saving me and protecting me along the way. You should leave the Blood Dragon Pool first. I want to meet up with Big Brother." Yu Chong raised her head. Her fine black hair fluttered in the air and shone brightly. Ning Fan nodded his head. This lady is not a bad person since she is brave enough to admit her mistakes. His previous words were just to test this woman's character. He grabbed Yu Chong-er's wrist and pulled her into his arms. He did not give her the chance to leave alone. Ning Fan moved his body and dashed towards a certain direction in the 13th swamp. Yu Chong-er was stunned. At the next moment, she realized that Ning Fan had taken advantage of her again. "Let go of me. Where are you bringing me?" She resisted with a low voice. However, her struggle was not intense. After all, she had stayed in his arms for more than 10 days. She had long gotten used to it. "I'll send you back. With my face, no one will blame you too much." Ning Fan did not say anything else. He moved like a wisp of smoke and flew across the 13th swamp. To the blood demons in the 13th swamp, his chi was a nightmare. Any beast that smelled his chi would prostrate on the ground and shiver in fear. Yu Chong-er felt a lump in her throat. Judging from Ning Fan's words, he was obviously trying to pressure the other revered elders so that they would no longer pursue Yu Chong-er's wrongdoings. Yu Chong-er's heart felt warm and her heart skipped a beat. Other than her mother, her elder brother and her master, Ning Fan was the first person who treated her well. "Thank you." Her voice was very soft. Perhaps Ning Fan did not hear it. With Ning Fan's speed, he arrived at the place where Yu Bai and the others were recuperating in just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Yu Bai and the others had yet to leave. All of this was naturally because Ning Fan had not returned from searching for his younger sister on his behalf. In the 13th swamp, most of the wild beasts were already dead. The 12 revered elders were in seclusion at the same time. Thus, there was basically no danger. In the temporary abode, the 12 of them were busy recuperating. No one was talking to each other. When they sensed the presence of 2 divine transformation realm chi outside the abode, the expressions of all the revered elders changed. They looked like birds that were startled by the mere twang of a bowstring. If the wild beasts were to attack them, even though they were not afraid, they would inevitably have a tough battle. Fortunately, they soon realized that the 2 chi were very familiar. One of them was Yu Chong, while the other was Ning Fan. "Revered Ming is back." The revered elder in hemp robes suddenly stood up with a fiery gaze. The group of them walked out of the abode. When they saw Ning Fan smiling as usual and completely unscathed, the respect in the eyes of the revered elder in hemp robes became even stronger. He had seen Ning Fan enter the 2nd floor with his own eyes. One should know that the 2nd floor was a dangerous place where void refinement realm beasts ran amok. He did not expect that not only was Ning Fan unscathed after entering the 2nd floor, he even saved Yu Chong. This kind of strength was really admirable. However, when their gazes fell upon Yu Chong, the expressions of all the revered elders became a little unnatural. It was all because of Yu Chong, that they were trapped in a dangerous place that day. Thus, they naturally hated Yu Chong to the core. After that day, Ning Fan eliminated all the beasts and went to the 2nd floor alone. As for Yu Bai and the others, they returned to the forest of Beast King and collected a lot of spiritual herbs. In that place, Yu Bai and the others found traces of blood dragon moss, but they realized that it had already been plucked by someone. Immediately, Yu Bai understood the reason behind it. The reason why Yu Chong recklessly went to the forest of Beast King to steal the spiritual herbs was actually because of the blood dragon moss. This blood dragon moss was her only hope to save her mother. If Yu Bai was in her shoes and found out that there were blood dragon moss in this forest, he would also come to steal the spiritual herbs at all costs. He told the other revered elders about Yu Chong-er's motive. All of them fell silent. As the saying goes, filial piety is the most important of all virtues. Yu Chong-er was eager to save her mother, but she did not mean to get herself into trouble. Besides, none of them died. As such, their original hatred towards her faded away. However, there was still a sense of blame. If Yu Chong-er had discussed the matter of stealing the spiritual herbs with everyone and they would have acted together, she certainly would not have caused so much trouble. At the end of the day, Yu Chong-er was still in the wrong. However, her mistake could still be forgiven. Greetings to revered Ming. The 12 revered elders straightened their backs and cupped their fists towards Ning Fan. Their eyes were filled with respect from the bottom of their hearts. If it wasn't for Ning Fan, they would have already died in the mouth of the king beast. This was a kindness that they could not easily forget. Brother Yu, I've already saved your sister, you don't have to worry anymore. Ning Fan loosened his embrace, allowing the siblings to reunite. Yu Bai's eyes were filled with joy, but when he remembered that Yu Chong had made a mistake, his face immediately turned cold. Yu Chong averted her gaze. However, when she recalled how she had solemnly vowed in front of Ning Fan that she would return and admit her mistake, she no longer cowered. She raised her head and bowed apologetically to the 12 venerated elders. I've implicated all of you in danger. I deserve to die 10,000 times for my crime. Fellow Taoists, if you have any punishment, feel free to state it clearly. One of the revered elders snorted coldly. It was clear that he was still rather resentful towards Yu Chong. However, just as he let out a snort, he was shocked to see Ning Fan taking a step forward and pulling Yu Chong into his arms. Give me some face. He didn't explain too much, just a short sentence. However, all of the revered elders on the scene were smart people. When they saw the intimate action between Ning Fan and Yu Chong, and heard his words, how could they not understand what he meant? Ning Fan was pleading for Yu Chong. The 12 revered elders of the Serene Heaven Palace had to give him face. Even if everyone did not know that the reason why Yu Chong made the mistake was to save her mother, they still had to forgive her for Ning Fan's sake. This matter is written off. The linen-robed old man was the first to speak, and soon after, the revered elders of the Serene Heaven Palace followed suit. Even the revered elder, who had snorted discontentedly, put away all his discontented emotions and sighed with mixed feelings. It seems like Yu Chong is Ning Fan's woman. He couldn't touch this woman. He couldn't provoke her. Yu Bai was stunned. Ning Fan had helped Yu Chong out of her predicament with just a sentence. He was very grateful for that. However, he never knew that Ning Fan and Yu Chong had such a close relationship. Yu Chong's heart trembled. Once again she was protected by Ning Fan. She had committed a grave mistake. Even if she could avoid the death penalty, she would not be able to escape punishment. However, all the guilt was erased by Ning Fan's words. Give me face. What a domineering man. Who would dare to not give him face? Perhaps because her mind was in a mess, Yu Chong, who had always rejected Ning Fan, did not resist his hug this time. None of the revered elders mentioned anything about Yu Chong's mistake. After chatting with Ning Fan for a while, they continued to chat happily and left the blood dragon pool together. Yu Chong curled up in Ning Fan's arms. Looking at Ning Fan's harmless smile, she could not help but feel a little speechless. Today, she had finally witnessed what it meant to eat both the righteous and the evil. He was obviously a devil cultivator who killed without batting an eyelid, but he could still have a pleasant conversation with a group of cultivators from the righteous path. Moreover, he could even make a group of old devils from the righteous path admire him. This was simply too unreasonable. Humph! She curled up in Ning Fan's arms and let out a soft snort in dissatisfaction. Then her ears turned hot and her face turned red. It was because Ning Fan blew a breath of hot air into her ear mischievously and said in a low voice, Yu Chong, you owe me one again. I will definitely pay you back. Yu Chong was a little lacking in confidence. She had already given Ning Fan her insect sovereign blood and the heaven-deceiving cloak. It seemed like she did not have any good things to give him anymore. Could it be that I can only repay him with my body? She felt a slight headache. Luckily, Ning Fan did not ask her how she was going to pay him back this time. It made her feel slightly relieved. However, when she thought that she would probably be separated from Ning Fan when she returned to the blood dragon pool, she felt a little disappointed. Why Yu Chong's soft buttocks were pinched by a large hand that was separated by the silver armor. All of a sudden, Yu Chong's delicate body tensed up. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anger and embarrassment. The one who pinched her buttocks was obviously Ning Fan. You're shameless. Yu Chong was sulking. Her buttocks were touched. It would be strange if she could remain calm. She actually felt sad about parting because of such a shameless and lecherous person. She was really too stupid. When Ning Fan saw Yu Chong, or revert to the disgusted expression she had when they first met, he smiled and said nothing. That's good. To void fragmentation realm old monsters, 1 month's time was nothing more than a single session of meditation. Yun Tianjue and Chu Chang and were both meditating. The difference was that the former was sleeping peacefully while the latter looked a little dejected. Lost. Chu Chang and knew that he was most likely going to lose the bet he had with Yun Tianjue. 21 Beast Kings and 3 Void Refinement Realm Blood Demons had died. If all of these were done by Ning Fan, then the amount of dragon blood he had obtained would probably be more than 50 pots. Collecting 50 pots of dragon blood in a month was an absurd task even for half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivators. However, Ning Fan seemed to have done it. He was holding a golden lamp in his hand. Inside the golden lamp, there was a bright yellow flame. It was the 6th grade Void Flame, the Serene Palace Buddha Fire. This flame was the guardian flame of the Serene Heaven Palace. Even when revered Yen came to ask for it, Chu Chang, and did not hand it over. Could it be that it would have a new owner today? No. Perhaps I won't lose the bet. Even though that Zhou Ming has killed a lot of people, he might not have killed all 500 Divine Transformation Realm Blood Demons. Perhaps he only killed the Beast Kings of the first floor and did not kill the other blood demons. Chu Chang, and comforted himself even though he also understood that he was just deceiving himself. 1 month had passed. Rays of traveling light broke through the surface of the water. There were 14 rays of traveling light. All of them were the revered elders of the Serene Heaven Palace. Of course, there was also Ning Fan. Seeing that even though the Divine Transformation Realm cultivators of his palace were injured, their lives were not in danger, Chu Chang, and heaved a sigh of relief. The death rate in the Blood Dragon pool was still very high. Even though he had purposely teleported all the Divine Transformation Realm cultivators of his palace to the same place, it was inevitable that 1 or 2 of them would die. It would be best if no one died. As for how much dragon blood these people could obtain, it was secondary. Having a life and death experience would greatly benefit everyone's cultivation. Chu Chang, and was only concerned about how much dragon blood a person had collected. His eyes fell on Ning Fan with hesitation and inquisitiveness. Little friend, how was your harvest? It should be difficult to collect 50 pots of dragon blood, right? It's indeed difficult. Ning Fan nodded and let go of Yu Chong, who was so embarrassed that she wanted to die, ignoring the latter's murderous expression. Could it be that little friend hasn't collected 50 pots of dragon blood? As soon as Chu Chang and heard Ning Fan saying that it was difficult, he was overjoyed. Judging from Ning Fan's tone, he probably did not collect enough dragon blood. However, just as his smile rose, he saw Ning Fan patting his storage pouch. Pots of dragon blood immediately appeared on the ground. There were actually more than 100 pots. 117 pots of dragon blood. You collected all of these within a month. Chu Chang, and found it hard to believe. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. Ning Fan nodded and cupped his fists at Yun Tianjue. Yun Tianjue, who had been meditating with his eyes closed for a month, finally opened his eyes. His cold eyes carried a hint of approval. You've done well. Elder Chu, you've lost. He stood up and carried the giant sword on his back again. Yun Tianjue's gaze swept across Chu Chang. Of course, Chu Chang knew what he meant. Chu Chang gritted his teeth. His face was filled with pain. He took out a golden lamp. A bright yellow flame was flickering in the lamp. With a flick of his finger, the flame flew out of the golden lamp and drifted towards Yun Tianjue. After losing the Serene Palace Buddha flame, the golden lamp was immediately extinguished. Yun Tianjue flicked his sleeve and a suction force came into his palm. Without even looking at it, he directly threw it to Ning Fan. Together with the flame, there was also a golden token. You've passed the test. This is your reward. Reward? Ning Fan's eyes widened. He caught the golden token and the flame. That golden token was naturally the revered Elder Golden Token that Yun Tianjue promised him. With this token, Ning Fan could freely enter the 800 cultivation countries of the rain world. It was his reward for passing the test. It was not surprising at all. However, the Serene Palace Buddha Flame was not what Yun Tianjue promised him. When Yun Tianjue used his beloved sword to bet Chu Chang'an's void flame, Ning Fan already had some doubts. Yun Tianjue's divine ability only had the word sword. What was the use of the flame? Using his beloved sword to bet on a useless flame was unreasonable. At this moment, Ning Fan finally understood that Yun Tianjue had probably decided to win the flame and give it to Ning Fan at the beginning of the bet. But Ning Fan frowned. He did not like to receive favors from others or owe them favors. After receiving so many benefits from Yun Tianjue for no reason, it was inevitable for him to have doubts. If you don't want it, just throw it away. Yun Tianjue's eyes turned cold. Why would he care whether you want something that he gave you? As a matter of fact, even he himself did not understand why someone as cold as him would have a good impression of Ning Fan and give him a chance. Perhaps it was because Ning Fan's confident smile was very similar to someone. That smile could move Yun Tianjue's cold heart. Who is it? Who is it? Yun Tianjue clenched his fists. One day, he would get his memories back. He abandoned his emotions to cultivate the sword. His memories were erased by the heavenly Tao Samsara. This was the price he had to pay for turning into a devil with a sword. He wanted to get his memories back. In the rain world, there was only one secret technique that could retrieve the memories that were erased by the heavenly Tao. It was the white lightning memory extinguishing technique of Thunder Sovereign Buzhou. He had used the immortal trapping sword and even seized many famous swords from the 800 cultivation countries just to head to the sovereign tomb to fight against the Thunder Sovereign and seize the white lightning technique. I'll give you 1 day to settle the karma of this place. 1 day later, you will return to the endless sea. Yun Tianjue did not want to say anything else. He turned around and was about to leave. At the moment he turned around, 2 rays of dazzling golden sound-transmitting flying swords pierced through the air and flew towards him. The sound-transmitting flying swords had a trace of golden qi in the shape of a dragon. It allowed the flying swords to travel a terrifying distance. It was impossible for Ning Fan not to recognize that golden qi. That was the sovereign qi. Sovereign sound flying swords. Could it be that the Rain Sovereign has sent me an order? Chu Chang'an's expression changed. He thought to himself, what happened in the middle state that made the Rain Sovereign personally send a message to a void fragmentation realm expert? Yun Tianjue's eyes also flickered slightly. He received the flying swords without saying a word. All the content of the message was directly transmitted into the sea of consciousness of the 2 void fragmentation realm experts. As soon as he heard the content of the message, Chu Chang'an's expression changed greatly. Even Yun Tianjue's expression changed. Sovereign Qi. Someone has condensed the sovereign Qi. The rain world had a new divine sovereign. Someone had used the divine sovereign cultivation technique, sovereign rain primordial art, to condense a trace of sovereign Qi. This matter was of great importance. The rain sovereign ordered Yun Tianjue and Chu Chang'an to return to the Rain Palace as soon as possible to investigate this matter. Elder Chu's words made the group of revered elders look at each other in confusion. Only Ning Fan vaguely understood that the matter that shocked the Rain Sovereign, Elder Chu and Yun Tianjue was related to him condensing the sovereign qi. Moreover, judging from the serious expression of the 2 void fragmentation realm experts, it seemed like it was not a good thing for the Rain Palace. Did I threaten the throne of the Rain Sovereign? If that's the case, once Ning Fan reveals the sovereign qi, he would probably face a great calamity that would shock the world. I must never reveal the sovereign qi. Ning Fan made up his mind. Even if the sovereign qi had the power to suppress void refinement realm experts, he must not use it recklessly. Unless he had the power to protect himself that the Rain Sovereign was afraid of. Otherwise, a disaster would certainly befall him. It seemed like the rain world would not be peaceful anymore. Chapter 398. Within a day, Ning Fan decided to stay in the Dragon Deciding Valley for the time being. After bidding farewell to Yu Bai and the others, he dismissed the guests and stayed in his room alone. Yu Cheng was still full of complaints. Whenever she was free, she would quarrel with Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan was obviously preoccupied and did not pay any attention to her. Outside the room, the bright moon hung high in the sky. Inside the room, Ning Fan sat alone on a cushion with a jade slip in his hand. He was shocked. That jade slip was the information he obtained from Snow Country. Not long after Elder Chu and Yun Tianjue obtained the sovereign sound-flying sword, the news that shook the entire Middle State had spread across the entire country. The ancestral statue had a strange phenomenon. Golden rays of light covered the sky. A new sovereign was born. In the Rain World, many forces had mobilized all their forces to find out the whereabouts of the new sovereign. Some of them were plotting against the new sovereign in order to welcome him. Some of them were preparing to assassinate the new sovereign to please the Rain Sovereign. Assassinate? Ning Fan frowned. He just condensed his sovereign chi. He did not have the intention to compete with the Rain Sovereign for the throne at all. However, it seemed like the tiger had the intention to harm the man. Things were developing in the direction that Ning Fan was most worried about. The Rain Sovereign could not tolerate Ning Fan. If he finds out that Ning Fan had the sovereign chi, he might kill him. Fortunately, Ning Fan had refined the heaven-deceiving cloak. This treasure had the effect of shielding him from heaven's secrets. In addition, the sovereign chi itself could shield him from divination. Ordinary people would not be able to divine Ning Fan's whereabouts. Unless it was an expert who was proficient in divination like Dong Su, who had the blood of a true immortal, he would only be able to divine some clues. Dong Su would not harm Ning Fan. However, he did not know if there were any experts in the Tao of divination like Dong Su in the Rain Palace. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. He had to be on guard against this. From today onwards, he must not display his sovereign chi in front of others. Not only that, he also needed to find a way to protect himself as soon as possible to prevent others from divining his whereabouts. After I condensed my sovereign chi, I created a sovereign chi technique which instantly killed a void refinement realm ferocious beast. However, I did not expect that this technique would have to be temporarily sealed after being used once. I have just thought of the name of this technique. It's really a pity that it has to be sealed now. Ning Fan smiled bitterly and shook his head. A sovereign chi to suppress an immortal and a sovereign chi to suppress a void refinement realm. This technique was majestic and domineering. However, it could not be shown to others unless Ning Fan had a void fragmentation realm expert to protect him. Yun Tianjue was a member of the Rain Palace after all. Besides, he was not related to Ning Fan at all. Ning Fan was afraid that he would not be able to ask him to protect him. Since Mei Chen was still in the Demon Sinister Forest, it was unlikely that they would be able to invite her. The only person Ning Fan could rely on was probably Luo Yu. I've been too busy with mundane affairs lately. I should help little Yu recover her soul as soon as possible. Without a void fragmentation realm guardian, I can't feel at ease. Ning Fan's mind became more and more restless. He had a feeling that something bad would happen tonight. Ever since he obtained the purple karmic luck, his perception of the heavenly Tao had become even more acute. It was indeed not normal for him to be so uneasy. It was better to help Luo Yu recover as soon as possible. With a thought, Ning Fan's figure gradually faded and reappeared in the profound Yin world. He had obtained many good things on this trip. The heavenly frost cold chi ranked 3rd, the divine cold soul, a 6th grade void fire that was stronger than the earth vein demonic fire, the serene palace Buddha fire, 120 bottles of dragon blood, a divine transformation realm Tao fruit. It was a pity that the blood demon was not a real living being. Otherwise, he would have obtained a lot of Tao fruits from this massacre. Ning Fan did not have the time to deal with these good things at the moment. He patted his storage pouch and took out 207 spirit consolidating pills. All of them were concocted in the Lost World Tower. With a flash, he entered the thatched cottage in the profound Yin world. Luo Yu was still sleeping on the bed. Her primordial spirit was still rather illusory. Such a fragile body could not withstand the medicinal power of a 5th revolution pill. If she consumes too many spirit consolidating pills at once, it would probably damage her primordial spirit. Even though he desired Luo Yu's help, he could not bear to let her get hurt. Ning Fan gradually gave up on the idea of forcefully waking Luo Yu up. He kept most of the spirit-consolidating pills, leaving only 12 of them. He dissolved them with clean water and helped the sleeping Luo Yu into his arms. Then, he carefully fed the medicinal liquid to her cherry lips. Ning Fan was not a despicable person. However, he would not let Luo Yu, his benefactor, get hurt just because of an unknown danger. Bitter? In her sleep, Luo Yu's brows knitted together as if she was unwilling to drink the pill because it was too bitter. Then she willfully spat out some of it. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a strange expression. This Luo Yu was an expert at the same level as Yuan Yao. She was at least a true immortal realm expert. A dignified true immortal realm expert, yet she behaved like a delicate young lady when she was sleeping. It was really unimaginable. Perhaps, many years ago, Luo Yu was also a young mistress of an aristocratic family. Her 10 fingers did not have to do any dirty work. However, he did not know why such a delicate young mistress would choose to cultivate a shameless cultivation method like the yin-yang transformation. Moreover, she even took the risk to obtain the yin-yang locket's acknowledgement. Cold, Luo Yu's primordial spirit became even more illusory. Her body became even colder. She gently hugged her shoulders and shivered slightly in Ning Fan's arms. Under her snow-white clothes, her fair neck gave off an alluring fragrance. Below her neck, 2 voluptuous mounds could be vaguely seen, a trace of lustful power spread out from Luo Yu's body, nearly bewitching Ning Fan's mind. Ning Fan quickly adjusted his state of mind and no longer dared to peek at her alluring body. Looking at Luo Yu's pure and flawless sleeping face, his heart softened. He took out several types of 10,000 years old spiritual fruits with a sweet and sour taste and mixed them into the medicinal liquid, making the originally bitter medicinal liquid taste sweet. Drink it. It's not bitter anymore. As if he was coaxing a child, he fed her the medicinal liquid again. After tasting the slightly sweet medicinal liquid, Luo Yu obediently drank it and no longer resisted. Her illusory primordial spirit became more and more solid. Her cold and delicate body gradually regained some warmth. After helping Luo Yu wipe off the medicinal liquid from the corner of her mouth, Ning Fan placed her back on the bed and covered her with a thin blanket. His palm gently caressed her sleeping face. He did not know what he was feeling. This lady had accompanied Ning Fan throughout his journey and they had gone through countless dangers. Without her, Ning Fan would probably have died a few times already. In the past, the weak Ning Fan needed her protection time and time again. Today, Ning Fan could already protect himself and travel freely in the rain world. This time, it was Ning Fan's turn to protect Luo Yu. Rumble. While Ning Fan was taking care of Luo Yu, the earth and mountains in the profound Yin world suddenly shook. Ning Fan was shocked. An extremely uneasy feeling shrouded his heart. Immediately, he rushed out of the thatched cottage and looked at the dusky sky of the profound Yin world. His expression changed greatly. Above the blue dome of heaven, a pitch-black crack suddenly appeared. That crack eventually turned into a gigantic pitch-black eyeball. The eyeball had just been formed. It was still empty and had no focus. It could not see Ning Fan's face clearly. Moreover, the chaotic Yin Qi in the profound Yin world made it even harder for the eyeball to see Ning Fan's face clearly. Even so, the eyeball still managed to see Ning Fan's blurry figure. "I found you. The new divine sovereign." Hissed that a cold qi poured down from his head and spread to his entire body. Ning Fan's expression changed greatly. He recognized what this pitch-black eyeball was. The heavenly eye. According to rumors, when the divination technique is cultivated to its peak, one could open the heavenly eye. If the heavenly eye is opened, one could even peek at the heavenly secrets that were concealed by others. Judging from the words of the owner of the heavenly eye, this person was obviously coming for Ning Fan. His goal was to become the new divine sovereign of the rain world. His eyes were filled with killing intent. His intentions are not good. After thinking for a while, Ning Fan gradually realized that even though the pitch-black eyeball was the heavenly eye technique, It seemed to have yet to be cultivated to perfection. The eye was lifeless and he could not see his appearance at all. Judging from the aura force of this pitch-black eyeball, the owner of this technique seemed to be a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. His cultivation base was similar to that of a Dong Su realm cultivator but slightly stronger. Ning Fan's heart sank. It seemed like this mysterious cultivator who used the Heavenly Eye technique to spy on Ning Fan was a revered elder of the Rain Palace who was proficient in divination. He was probably following the order of the Rain Sovereign to investigate his whereabouts so that he could kill him. Thinking of this, Ning Fan felt even more fortunate. The timing of this mysterious revered elder to spy on Ning Fan was not good. It happened to be when Ning Fan entered the Profound Een world. The Profound Een world was a medium-sized world. Other than ancient chaos, no one had ever entered it before. Since Ning Fan was staying here, the owner of the Heavenly Eye would certainly not know where Ning Fan came from and where he was. If Ning Fan did not enter the Profound Een world tonight, the owner of the Heavenly Eye would probably see through Ning Fan in the Dragon Deciding Valley. At that time, even if he could not see Ning Fan's appearance clearly, he would certainly find out Ning Fan's identity through the terrain of the Dragon Deciding Valley. Two tigers cannot live on the same mountain. Ning Fan, the new sovereign of the Rain world, would probably be killed immediately. The purple luck was indeed not bad. It helped Ning Fan avoid calamity by pursuing good fortune. Just as Ning Fan expected, since the Heavenly Eye could not see Ning Fan's appearance clearly, it tried to see the surrounding terrain. The owner of the Heavenly Eye knew the terrain of the Rain world like the back of his hand. As long as Ning Fan is in any place in the Rain world, he would be able to determine Ning Fan's whereabouts through the terrain. At that time, he would certainly send a few Void Fragmentation Realm experts to assassinate Ning Fan. Unfortunately, this place was the Profound Een world. It was a world that the owner of the Heavenly Eye had never seen before. A medium-sized world. There's no mistake. This place is a medium-sized world treasure. The owner of the Heavenly Eye was a little shocked. He could not see Ning Fan's appearance clearly, nor could he see his cultivation base. The only thing he could see was Ning Fan's rough figure. He could tell that this place was a medium-sized world. However, he could not imagine what kind of expert would possess a medium-sized world treasure. Even in the Rain Immortal world, the entire world was just a small kiliacosm. This Profound Een world was bigger than the entire Rain Immortal world. Even true immortals might not necessarily have a medium-sized world treasure. Normally, only immortal emperors were qualified to possess such a supreme treasure and use it to control the life and death of a world. Strange. The owner of the Heavenly Eye was puzzled. Wasn't the person he wanted to find and kill the new divine sovereign of the Rain Immortal world? Why would he track a mysterious expert who possessed a medium-sized world treasure? Who exactly are you? What are you trying to do to my Rain Immortal world? A cold and old voice resounded from the Heavenly Eye, interrogating Ning Fan. Ning Fan would not answer. He was not stupid. The owner of the Heavenly Eye could not see his appearance clearly and could not determine where he was. He might not even be certain that Ning Fan was in the Rain Immortal world. The owner of the Heavenly Eye did not have any ulterior motives when he asked the question. In fact, he just wanted to find out Ning Fan's voice. With his voice around, it would be much easier to track Ning Fan. Ning Fan was not a fool. Before he destroys the Heavenly Eye of the owner of the Heavenly Eye, he would not make a sound. That's right. He wanted to destroy this person's Heavenly Eye. He wanted to completely destroy this person's immature Heavenly Eye to prevent any future troubles. It would be troublesome to avoid being spied on by this Heavenly Eye the next time Ning Fan leaves the Profound Een world. He wanted to destroy this Heavenly Eye. Moreover, he could not use any of the methods he had used in the past to prevent the owner of the Heavenly Eye from finding out Ning Fan's identity. He could not use the Wind Mist Finger and the Wind Snow Finger. He could not use the 5 Burial Dragon techniques and the 3 Fire Palms. All of his secret techniques and abilities could not be used. However, Ning Fan still had a method that could destroy the Heavenly Eye without exposing his identity. The Immortal Subduing Technique. The Heavenly Eye came for the Sovereign Chi in the first place. Thus, there was no need for Ning Fan to conceal his sovereign qi. Using the sovereign qi to kill the heavenly eye and let the owner of the heavenly eye suffer the consequences of his own actions was the best choice. From today onwards, Ning Fan would never display his sovereign qi in front of anyone. Who would know that the person whom the Rain Sovereign personally sent to track and assassinate was actually him? Ning Fan took a step in the void. His body shone with golden light and his sovereign qi soared. As soon as the sovereign qi appeared, Ning Fan's killing intent locked onto the heavenly eye. In an instant, the heavenly eye was delighted at first. Then it was filled with shock and anger. It was delighted because it really did not track down the wrong person. The sovereign qi that Ning Fan condensed was definitely condensed with the help of the sovereign rain primordial art. From the perspective of the heavenly eye, Ning Fan had a great relationship with the Rain Palace after all. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to possess the primordial art that was passed down from generation to generation by the divine sovereigns. The owner of the heavenly eye was even more certain that Ning Fan had ulterior motives and was plotting something against the Rain Palace. However, as soon as this joy appeared, it immediately disappeared. It was because the owner of the heavenly eye discovered to his horror that Ning Fan actually had the intention to destroy his heavenly eye. Jiang Yi wanted to withdraw his heaven eye. However, he was shocked to discover that while it was easy for the heaven eye to enter the profound Yin world, it was impossible for it to leave. He couldn't withdraw his heaven eye. This was not strange at all. This person had used the heavenly eye technique to spy on Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not know about it at all. Thus, he was able to enter the profound Yin world. However, Ning Fan was the lord of the profound Yin world after all. If he controls this world and prevents the heavenly eye from leaving, how could it come and go as it pleases? You can't break my heaven eye. I am the revered elder of the vast heaven palace of the Rain Palace. Revered Nether. I'm a close subject of Prince Shao Xiang, the #1 celestial master of the Rain Palace, conferred by the Rain Sovereign himself. You can't shatter my heavenly eye. Otherwise, you will suffer the revenge of the entire Rain world. Ning Fan remained silent, but his lips curved into a sneer. So this person is Revered Ming. Ning Fan seemed to have heard of this name in Great Jin before. He remembered that when Revered Snow came to Great Jin's aid, it was because Revered Ming had predicted that there would be a demon tide in Great Jin. Moreover, it was probably because he had predicted the relationship between Li Ban and the demon world that Revered Snow did not dare to kill Li Ban in the end. Revered Ming was the #1 heavenly master of the Rain Palace. He was probably the only expert who could barely condense his heaven eye. In other words, as long as Ning Fan destroys Revered Ming's heaven eye, no one would be able to see through Ning Fan's heavenly secrets anymore. That's good enough. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He would not fall into the same trap twice. Revered Ming would not have a second chance to spy on Ning Fan. He pointed his finger. Golden sovereign qi soared into the sky and turned into a gigantic golden mountain. Then, it crashed heavily at the heaven eye. The sovereign qi technique that was powerful enough to kill an early void refinement realm ferocious beast was used to suppress a mere heaven eye. In just an instant, the entire gigantic eye in the sky was blasted into a mist of blood by the golden mountain. Seeing that the strange phenomenon of the profound Yin world was gradually disappearing, Ning Fan relaxed his brows. This time, it was really a close call. The Heaven Eye technique was originally a technique that only trigram immortals could cultivate. He did not expect that a mere revered elder of the Rain Palace would actually have such a shocking innate talent in divination. Since this person has such a unique skill, he must be highly valued in the Rain Palace. I wonder if the Rain Sovereign would fly into a rage after Ning Fan destroyed his heaven eye. Rain Sovereign. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. For the first time, he hated someone he had never met before. What does it have to do with him that I condense my sovereign qi? Even if I become a sovereign, can't there be 2 sovereigns in the Rain world? The 3 sovereigns of the Sword world and the 9 sovereigns of the Devil world. Which one of them is the strongest? As for the Rain Sovereign, come to think of it, The reason why this person suppressed Elder Chu might not be because of his identity as a member of the demon race or because he was afraid of Elder Chu's half-trace of sovereign qi. When that time comes, his position as a sovereign would be shaken. What a jealous and capable Rain sovereign. One day, I will settle this score with him. In a secret chamber of the Rain Palace of the Middle State, a black-robed old man was sitting on a cushion. His left eye was open while his right eye was closed. His fingertips were moving rapidly as if he was performing divination. Outside the secret chamber, countless experts were standing guard. Among them was even the Rain sovereign. They were waiting for the black-robed old man to find out who the new sovereign is. If he is not one of them, it would be best to eliminate him as soon as possible. This black-robed old man was the revered elder of the vast heaven palace, revered Ming. The sovereign qi of a sovereign can conceal the heavenly secrets. Revered Ming's heaven eye has just been awakened and it hasn't stabilized yet. Is it too much to ask him to perform divination on that person now? The Rain sovereign frowned and felt slightly uneasy. Don't worry, father. The Dark Lord is my subordinate, and I know his ability. In the Rain world, his divination ability is unparalleled. That mysterious sovereign has just condensed his sovereign qi and it isn't stable yet. He might not be able to completely conceal the heavenly secrets. It shouldn't be difficult for revered Ming to divine his appearance, voice, and origin. However, if we find out his identity, I'm afraid father will have to make a decision as soon as possible. Yun Xiaoxiang reminded. The so-called, make a decision as soon as possible, was naturally to eliminate the dissident as soon as possible to avoid raising a tiger that would cause future trouble. The Rain sovereign nodded and said no more. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, an earth-shaking and mountain-shaking sound suddenly resounded in the secret chamber. Immediately, an old man's miserable cry was heard. The Rain sovereign's expression changed. He knew that the divination had a result. However, he felt that the noise was a little too big, so he immediately pushed the door open and entered. As soon as he entered, his expression changed immediately. He saw revered Ming's left eye open, which was filled with hideous and painful traces of blood. His right eye was completely shattered and black blood was gushing out. The heaven eye was shattered. Yun Ming, what exactly happened? Why did your heaven eye shatter? Did you see clearly who that person is? The Rain sovereign was shocked. Revered Ming was his right-hand man. Although he wasn't strong, his divination skill was definitely the best in the Rain world. The shattering of the heaven eye was like cutting off one of the Rain sovereign's arms. It's him, it's him. Revered Ming's expression was filled with fear and resentment. The heaven eye was shattered. He secretly swore that he must find other ways to find this person and make him suffer a fate worse than death. It's him. The others might not know who revered Ming was talking about, but only the Rain sovereign knew. As soon as he heard revered Ming's words, his eyes revealed fear. It's that person. 100,000 years ago, before the previous Rain sovereign passed away, he had left behind a divination using the life-soul technique. This divination was nurtured in the heavenly fate pool, and it possessed unfathomable divination abilities. The current Rain sovereign had taken out this divination to predict the future of the Rain world. He claimed that he was predicting the future of the Rain world, but that was not the case. What he had predicted was whether he could become an immortal in this lifetime. The answer was no. Because the current Rain sovereign would die and the cause of his death would be the death of an expert who was at the peak of the 9 worlds within 1,000 years. In the divination, the Rain sovereign only saw the back of that person. Just the back of that person almost shattered his primordial spirit. The Rain sovereign had predicted that this person's magic power was boundless. He had once made up his mind to find this person. He had once sensed a trace of Rain intent from this person's qi. In the deepest part of his qi, there was a trace of Rain divine veins. Therefore, the Rain sovereign thought that this person was the descendant of one of the 7th princes of the Rain palace. He had once searched for this person among the 800 cultivation countries. At that time, Yun Bushu had gone to Ningfan to find this person. Of course, the Rain sovereign would not be kind to this person. In the past, the descendants of the divine children that he had found from the 800 cultivation countries were either secretly eliminated or had their immortal veins destroyed, turning them into cripples. Unknowingly, Ning Fan had already avoided that calamity a long time ago. It was because of his previous divination that the Rain Sovereign was so nervous about the birth of a sovereign being in the Rain world this time. He had a hunch that the sovereign being born this time was the mysterious expert that he had seen in the divination in the past. This person would kill him, the dignified Rain Sovereign, in the near future. In order to prevent that from happening, he must be one step ahead and eliminate this person. Therefore, revered Ming risked his heavenly eye to find this person. Unfortunately, revered Ming did not manage to see Ning Fan's appearance, chi, voice, cultivation base, origin and abilities clearly in the end. The only thing he could see was Ning Fan's blurry figure. That figure was exactly the same as the nemesis of the Rain Sovereign's divination. It was definitely the same person. We must find this person. Revered Ming spurted out blood and fell unconscious on the ground. The Rain Sovereign's mind trembled. His nemesis had finally appeared. Use the power of the 800 cultivation countries to find this person and kill him. The Rain Sovereign's expression turned cold. He casually threw out a jade slip. What was imprinted on it was a blurry figure that looked extremely similar to Ning Fan. There is only a blurry back view. How are we going to find this person? Moreover, this person can condense sovereign chi. He is most likely a void fragmentation realm expert. How can we kill him? One of his trusted revered elders said with difficulty. Then we will kill everyone who looks like this back view. Even if that person is a void fragmentation realm expert, we must also eliminate him. The Rain Sovereign said coldly. Within 1,000 years, he would probably die in the hands of that person. Since it was a matter of life and death, how could the Rain Sovereign be careless? Even if he had to sacrifice everything in the Rain world, he must eliminate this person. Chapter 399. The pursuit of the heavenly eye was really beyond Ning Fan's expectation. After avoiding this calamity, Ning Fan returned to the thatched cottage to see Luo Yu after checking that everything was fine. Seeing that she still showed no signs of waking up, he sighed inwardly and began to sort out the spoils of war. It was time to deal with the 120 bottles of dragon blood. It would take 10 years to brew the blood wine. Ning Fan needed to confirm if it was possible to shorten the 10 years. In the profound Yin world, one's cultivation speed and alchemy speed were 100 times faster than in the outside world. As for whether his brewing speed would increase, it was still unknown. Ning Fan took out the Xian Wei bloody gourd and carefully studied the wine inside it. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, he let out a sigh. The profound Yin world did not have the ability to increase the production of blood wine. No, it should be said that the structure of this dark radiance blood gourd was extremely special, and it had to link up with the energy of the world in the outside world in order to brew blood into wine. If it was stored in a time acceleration or placed in the profound Yin world, not only would it not be able to accelerate, it would also be impossible to brew wine. This is a troublesome matter. Perhaps in the future, when Ning Fan breaks through the void and attains the immortal realm, he would be able to communicate with the power of heaven and earth. Only then would he be able to brew wine in the profound Yin world. However, he could not do it now. The wine can only be brewed in the outside world. The 10 years in the outside world cannot be sped up. In other words, it will take at least 10 years for the blood wine to be brewed. I can only break through the void refinement realm bottleneck with the help of the power of the blood wine after 10 years. It will take me 10 years to accumulate enough magic power, and I don't know how many years it will take to break through the void refinement realm bottleneck. I'm afraid that the void refinement realm will consume a lot of time. It's even possible that I won't be able to succeed in the void refinement realm in the remaining 60 years. I'm too greedy. If I can succeed in the void refinement realm after several decades, it would already be a great blessing. For ordinary cultivators, they might not necessarily be able to attain the void refinement realm even if they spend hundreds or thousands of years. Rather than pondering about the unknown, Why don't I drink the remaining 7 mouthfuls of blood wine and put the 120 bottles of blood wine into the blood gourd? This is the real business. Before he came to the dragon deciding valley, he could at most drink 3 mouthfuls of blood wine. After that, he would not be able to resist the baleful chi of the blood wine. However, after the massacre in the blood pool, his baleful aura had become even more shocking. It was not impossible for him to drink 7 mouthfuls in a row. Gulp. Ning Fan gulped down 7 mouthfuls of the blood wine in one gulp. The spiciness entered his throat and he immediately sat down cross-legged to refine the power of the wine. 3 mouthfuls of blood wine increased his magic power by 25,000 units. 7 mouthfuls of blood wine increased his magic power by another 58,000 units. With the cultivation speed of the profound Yin world that was 100 times faster than normal, Ning Fan did not spend too much time refining the blood wine. When the wine power in his body was completely refined, his magic power broke through to 396,500 units. The 7 mouthfuls of blood wine were all brewed with the blood of the Sword Sovereign, so the alcohol was quite ferocious. Even with Ning Fan's alcohol tolerance, he still felt slightly tipsy and dizzy. After suppressing the power of the wine, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the 120 jade pots. Then he stored all of the dragon blood into the blood gourd. This dragon blood was slightly inferior to the Sword Sovereign's blood, but if each pot of blood was made into wine, it would have at least 5,000 units of Fa Li. Once the 600,000 units of armor blood wine is successfully brewed, Ning Fan's magic power would exceed 1 million units and he could officially begin breaking through to the void refinement realm. 10 years? Only 10 years, not too long. After dealing with the blood wine, Ning Fan took out the Serene Palace Buddha Fire and the Divine Cold Soul. With a solemn expression, he refined them one by one. After refining the Divine Cold Soul, Ning Fan now possessed the 13th type of Heavenly Cold Soul and Earth Flame. His magic power increased by 1,000 units. After refining the Serene Palace Buddha Flame, Ning Fan obtained his first type of 6th grade Void Flame. His magic power increased by 5,000 units. His magic power of 402,500 units had already exceeded 400,000 units. He was only 100,000 units away from the half-step Void Refinement Realm's 500,000 units. Initially, he wanted to consume the Divine Transformation Realm Dao fruit. However, after giving it a second thought, he decided against it. In Suchio was highly regarded by the Purple Mansion Academy. She would be able to ascend after attaining the Divine Transformation Realm. Although she was half a step away from the Soul Formation stage, she would still need at least 100 years to truly reach the Soul Formation stage. This Divine Transformation Dao fruit should be left for Suchio. To Ning Fan, who possessed countless amounts of blood wine, 1,000 units of magic power was insignificant. To Suchio, however, it could save her a lot of hard work and lay the foundation for her deification. And of course, I have to prepare one for Su Chioling as well as for the other women. Ning Fan smiled faintly. If he returns to his hometown, he might be able to help them improve their cultivation bases. Looking at the time, it was already close to dawn. Ning Fan took care of Luo Yu for a while more before leaving the profound Yin world and returning to the Dragon Deciding Valley. In the valley, the flying snow was silent. Outside Ning Fan's room, a lonely middle-aged man with a sword on his back had been standing alone in the snow for a long time. He sensed that Ning Fan had entered the space of his magic treasure. Besides, the fluctuation of the space did not seem to be like a heavenly dwelling magic treasure or even a small kiliacosm treasure. Perhaps it's a medium kiliacosm treasure. However, this should be impossible. Only immortal emperors are qualified to possess medium kiliacosm treasures, aren't they? Yun Tianjue pondered for a while, but he did not ask Ning Fan anything. He did not like to pry into other people's secrets. Seeing Ning Fan push open the door and walk out, he only said coldly, "You have passed the test. After you bid farewell to your little girlfriend, I will send you back to the Endless Sea." Yun Tianjue really had to send Ning Fan back. Otherwise, it would take Ning Fan at least a few months to travel the distance of several billion li. What made him rather speechless was the word little girlfriend that Yun Tianjue mentioned. It was naturally referring to Yu Chong. Ning Fan also had a good impression of this frank, straightforward and filial little girl. However, that good impression had yet to reach the level of romantic feelings. He did not deny it. However, he did not plan to bid farewell to Yu Chong either. It was enough for him to leave silently. Junior has gained a lot in this trip to the dragon-determining valley. It was all thanks to Senior's care. I won't dare to forget this kindness. However, the Rain Sovereign ordered Senior to return to the Middle State immediately, but Senior disobeyed the order and sent me back to the Endless Sea. Will this matter cause trouble for Senior? Ning Fan was worried that Yun Tianjue had angered the Rain Sovereign. Based on his current understanding of the Rain Sovereign, he was definitely not a kind person. Don't bother yourself with unnecessary matters, Yun Tianjue said impatiently, stopping all of Ning Fan's questions. Seeing that Ning Fan did not have the intention to stay, he also had no intention to stay in this place. He turned around and looked at a certain direction in the wind and snow, saying, "Farewell," coldly. Then, a sword light flashed and carried Ning Fan away from the snow country. In the dark, Chu Chang, and revealed himself with a bitter smile. Yun Tianjue was naturally bidding farewell to Old Man Chu. During the 1-month trip to the Blood Dragon Pool, the Blood Dragon demonic sword had absorbed a large amount of blood chi, and its dragon might had become even more active. Old Man Chu could sense a trace of the Blood Dragon's prestige from Ning Fan's body. He knew that Ning Fan probably had some kind of secret treasure of the Blood Dragon. Thus, he wanted to find out more about it. However, he did not expect that Yun Tianjue could see through Old Man Chu's intention and guarded outside Ning Fan's room. As such, even if Old Man Chu wanted to find out more about Ning Fan, he had no choice but to give up on the idea. He didn't want to offend Yun Tianjue for an unknown blood dragon secret treasure. White-clothed sword god Yun Tianjue? I never thought that such a cold and indifferent person would actually treat a revered elder of the devil cultivators so generously. For the sake of Yun Tianjue, this old man will not have any ideas about Zhou Ming. However, Yun Tianjue might dare to ignore the Rain Emperor's summons, but I don't. This old man is of the beast race, and I also possess half a wisp of sovereign chi that was bestowed upon me by the late emperor, so I am a thorn in the Rain Emperor's side. If I return to the Middle State too late, it is very likely that I will be the subject of ridicule. Even a void fragmentation realm expert doesn't have freedom. I'm leaving. Chu Chang, and gave a self-mocking smile. Then he also turned into a ray of traveling light and left for the Middle State. Amidst the wind and snow, Yu Chong had a sleepless night. She stared at Ning Fan's departing sword light in silence. Feeling a little melancholy, she could not help but touch her lips, recalling the lingering wet kiss that day. It was as if her lips still had Ning Fan's taste. "Thank you. You saved me, my mother and my brother. I will certainly repay the third favor that I owe you. I will definitely." It took 3 days for them to arrive and 2 days for them to leave. Yun Tianjue remained silent throughout the journey. The speed of his sword light increased. In just 2 days he had sent Ning Fan back to the external sea of Penglai. He did not bid farewell to Ning Fan, nor did he give him any instructions. Only after Ning Fan jumped off the sword light and cupped his fists towards him did he slightly nod his head. His eyes looked slightly gentle. "I heard that Senior isn't the son of the Rain Emperor. You must be careful in the Middle State this time." Ning Fan frowned slightly and reminded him solemnly. Yun Tianjue had broken through his sin mark and regained his 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. Then, he openly disobeyed the order of the Snow Country by injuring the 7th prince with a single sword strike. With the cold personality of the Rain Emperor, Ning Fan was slightly worried about how he would deal with Yun Tianjue. Seeing that Ning Fan was actually concerned about him, Yun Tianjue's eyes flickered slightly. Without saying anything, he turned into a ray of sword light and left proudly. In just a short while, he disappeared without a trace. However, after he had gone far away, a ray of sword chi suddenly shot out from the direction where he left and went into Ning Fan's body. That sword chi did not have any killing intent. It seemed to be just an inheritance of a sword technique. Ning Fan did not resist and allowed the sword chi to enter his body. Immediately, a sword technique appeared in his sea of consciousness. Myriad sword style. Ning Fan took a deep breath. Yun Tianjue had actually imparted one of the 3 strongest sword techniques in his entire life to him. Along with that ray of sword light, Yun Tianjue's usual cold voice could be heard. You be careful too. It was the first time in 1,000 years that Yun Tianjue told someone to be careful. All of a sudden, Ning Fan found it hard to calm down. He could not understand why this kind of silent parting made him feel a little reluctant. Perhaps, Ning Fan felt a sense of protection from the old devil from Yun Tianjue. Or perhaps, it was because of a reason that even Ning Fan did not understand. Shaking his head, Ning Fan put away all his thoughts. He looked at the Penglai immortal island beneath his feet and smiled bitterly. Ever since he met Yun Tianjue in the Green Bamboo Palace, he did not return to Penglai for 2 months straight. He wondered if Bei Xiaoman, who had just lost her virginity, would explode from anger when she woke up and could not see her lover. Bei Xiaoman, Suqioling it. In Suqiu. Once these karmic ties were settled, it was time for him to enter the eternal endless sea. After dealing with all the trivial matters, he could go home. Ning Fan could not stay any longer even though there were so many beauties in his home. He had too many things to do. If he stops, he would not be able to hold on to anything. He took a step forward and his figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the southern pill tower of Black Warrior City. Ye Lan was receiving guests. After being praised by Ning Fan, her confidence in cultivation was ignited and she looked even more radiant. As soon as she saw Ning Fan return, she subconsciously revealed a shy and happy expression. She lowered her head slightly and greeted him politely. Young Master Zhou, you're back. Are you going to see the mistress? Young Master left without saying goodbye for 2 months. The mistress is quite angry. Is that so? Then, are you angry? Ning Fan teased. What right do I have to be angry at young Master? Ye Lan gently turned her head away. She did not dare to look at Ning Fan's eyes directly. Her heart felt like it was going to jump out of her throat. It was her first time being teased by Ning Fan. It's good that you're not angry. Be good. Ning Fan smiled and went up to the southern tower. The word, be good, sounded like he was coaxing his lover. It made Ye Lan blush all the way to her neck. As for the elders of the pill tower who were standing at the side, they did not dare to offend Ye Lan when they saw how close they were. With Ning Fan's reputation, Ye Lan's life in the future would probably be very good. Her status in the Ye clan would also rise. At the top of the southern tower was Bei Xiaoman's room. Just as Ning Fan walked to the door, he could hear the sound of cursing from afar. When he pushed the door open, Bei Xiaoman was sitting on the bed in a bad mood. She was holding a puppet that looked like Ning Fan and was poking it with a needle. Unfortunately, the spot that she poked was right between Ning Fan's legs where his clone was. When he looked at the floor, there were at least 20 puppets whose lower bodies had been poked into pieces. Ning Fan felt a chill down his lower body. This Bei Xiaoman really has a lot of resentment. Is she trying to castrate me? Stinky Zhou. You're shameless. You just finished with me and then you ran away. You've eaten your fill. You're shameless. How could Bei Xiaoman not feel resentful? If it was any other woman who could not see their lover after their first night, they would probably feel the same way. It was hard for Bei Xiaoman not to cry and vent her anger by poking the puppet. It was already very rare. Oh, Miss Xiaoman seems to be very angry. I wonder what I can do to calm you down? Pumph. How dare you come back? I'm going to poke you to death. Poke, poke, poke. Bei Xiaoman was like a little wild leopard that had been wronged. She ran down the bed with her stockings bare and ran into Ning Fan's arms. Then, she poked the silver needle in her hand at Ning Fan's lower body. She really dared to do it. Does she want to be a widow? Crazy girl. Ning Fan did not say much. At this moment, Bei Xiaoman would not listen to his explanation. Ning Fan was also too lazy to explain. With a flick of his finger, he flicked the silver needle away. Then he lifted Bei Xiaoman up and threw her onto the bed, pinning her under his body. One of his hands clamped onto Bei Xiaoman's hands while the other hand began to unbutton her clothes. Shameless. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she was speechless. After a night of pleasure with her, he would leave and come back 2 months later. The first thing he would do when he comes back is to have sex with her. This stinky Zhou Ming's head must be filled with shit. How disgusting! Even though she said that it was disgusting, her body immediately reacted the moment Ning Fan touched it. Her legs rubbed against each other and her thighs were already slippery. Ning Fan unbuttoned her thin shirt. He did not even take it off. Instead, he lifted up her undergarment, revealing 2 small white rabbits. He sucked one of the buds and began to lick it. Before Bei Xiaoman could resist, she was already subdued by Ning Fan skillfully. A pleasant feeling filled her entire body. The emptiness she felt was also unbearable. She stared at Ning Fan with misty eyes. All of her resentment had been thrown to the back of her mind. Now, she just wanted to ride on his body and clamp him tightly between her legs. "Your legs are so beautiful." Ning Fan caressed the inside of Bei Xiaoman's smooth and slender thighs through her stockings and praised her generously. He still remembered that when he met Bei Xiaoman at the beginning of the year, someone had reminded him that praising Bei Xiaoman like this would make her happy. "You're such a sweet talker." Bei Xiaoman raised her chin proudly. Being praised by Ning Fan was much more pleasing to the ear than being praised by others. "This stinky Zhou Ming has good taste. He even knows that I'm good-looking." When the fiery heat pierced into her body, Bei Xiaoman had already completely lost herself. Her fingernails sank deep into Ning Fan's back. The violent impact made her so excited that she could not breathe. "Tell me before you leave. I will be worried." Bei Xiaoman moaned while speaking intermittently. "Just this once." Ning Fan savored the taste of Bei Xiaoman. She was really delicious. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.